What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossi warrior clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossi warrior clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
Tech tried to line it up, and he was like, I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Sean because he too disrespectful.
Yeah, he is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool. Not a coincidence. I actually chop it up with Cub. But niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you're gonna be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro. Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't even do fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, my it's like, wait, bro, talk like that, man. We gotta get face to face with you to talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You feel me? Go ahead, I got my brother on here. Peanut, what's the word, my brother?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but Lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sue Tech, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dudes. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African. So don't ever say that shit again, Famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
You heard that? If Sean P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over there, right?
Tech want to know. So this like it's a pecking order. It's a pecking. So Sean want you, and Tech want him. We say PMF ain't no his
no problem. There's no problem, man. Let's set up the Tech debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that son, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
That's how it's going. I love to tell Tech. Tell me. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Album pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. Make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We make it work. You know? Right. He ain't ducking no phase, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, and then when we get in other
hey, alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there. Nigga, stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga around me in my face, clown.
You gonna block me?
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do PNF like that.
PNF, they trying to trigger you, brother.
Word the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, oh, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little hot. He like that.
So he like...
Y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find your own genealogy. Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
I don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot, nigga get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga get lost, you just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.
Man, peace to everybody in the chat. Your boy Sean P in the place to be. I got a show for that. You know what? So yesterday, before we went over the Not a Coincidence channel, we had done a show on skin color, and you know, Vino kind of shows up late, but he was in the comments of the video that I did yesterday. However, he was over there on Not a Coincidence, just running his mouth a little bit, talking crazy, saying what he was saying. And he had told us that he had released this video educating people and trying to teach. So in no way, shape, form, or fashion should Vino be educating or trying to teach anyone. It's just another one of them dumb, uneducated fools that didn't even get a GED that's trying to manipulate and misrepresentate information. So because he because he put together this video, I'm trying to say this without being very insulting. I felt the need to do a proper critique of the boy's video. Now, I already know what's going on. You know and I know. We already know what's going on. But if I'm going to do my due diligence when I deal with their other claims, their meaning them, meaning the people that are misrepresenting Black history, the Black experience, and the evolution of the Americas as we know it from its earliest to now, I have to allow the guy to be heard. And it was on him. He insinuated that we go and check his video out. Now, the way this video is done, I get behind what he was attempting to do, you know, run his little reel all the way through, speak while slides is going. I mean, he kind of had a little creativity going there, but it just, his delivery, the information, I don't just think that he has a grasp for that information. So we're going to dive directly into that, and we're going to see what this dude is talking about. And I don't care if he gets a view or if someone's interested in hearing more from him. I don't want anyone to make to come to a conclusion, right? Because that would be the improper thing to do, to sit here and come to your conclusion without actually reviewing the data. So I'm going to allow him an opportunity to edify me. If he is right somewhere, I am going to tell him that he is right somewhere. If he is incorrect somewhere, I am going to edify him where he is correct. If I let something slide, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, it was on purpose. So I like to welcome everybody to the smoke session. This will be a proper analysis of a pseudo featuring Vino, which will probably be in here a little bit later on. So I want to say peace to Keisha. I see you in the chat. I see the bar reloaded. Zane was good. Thurman was happening. Baloo was good with you. Ramon, what's going on? EIE is in the building. Midwest, what's going on? Home team, salute, salute. You know, those of you that'll catch the replay, peace and hair and soul grease to you. Brother Mathis is in the building. Please like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. We live. I don't know how many people will actually get in here, but we got to get it. So we're going to have to handle our business the way we need to handle our business. All right. What's going on, Toon Day? What's good with you? It's been a minute. But please, before we get going, like the show, share the show. Like the show, share the show. It's gonna be good, I promise you. Before I even get started, if you know me, and if this is your first time tuning in, or if you may have tuned in prior to other shows, if there's any information that I present today and you are interested in that information, feel free to hit the link in the description of this particular video and obtain that information and use it the correct way. Don't get it and then try to cherry pick it and argue a point based on the cherry picking. Use it the correct way. Read it all the way through. If you got to make yourself some side notes or something like that, do that. Do something that's more educational for you to be able to retain the information and properly edify someone and correct them where they're wrong. Don't just get out here and hit the button or create something and don't know the purpose and reason of what you're creating. Now, there was something very interesting that Vino has said in his video. And I am not one of these people that he is referring to, but I am speaking directly to the people that he claims that he is speaking to. So let me get back a little bit. He got some music at the beginning of the video. I ain't trying to hear none of that. Go back just a little bit more. All right, so we're gonna start right here. Now, if I stop somewhere immediately, it's only to get into some information that he is already sharing. Or I might just let it play through, but if I let it play through, it's a 50-minute video, so I can't. So I am gonna have to pause it and go through it and give you the business on this situationship right here with this boy. So this smoke session is brought to you by none other than V-Note or V-Not or what they called that man yesterday. Crackhead, whatever you want to call him, it don't even matter, man. Let's go.
Young brother says, fuck school because the shit is racist. The shit ain't cool. If I say to you Columbus discovered America in 1492, if I was your teacher, you said, no, Columbus didn't discover America in 1492. There were Indians here. I tell you flunked the course. Strictly ghetto, nigga.
Christopher Columbus, the man they say that found America. But the question in the year 2024 in the black community is not did he find America, but was black people already in America before he got to America. And hopefully that I can prove to you within this video with drawings, pictures, writings, documents, documentary, movies, and primary sources that the black Aboriginal American family was already in America before Christopher Columbus came to America. Now, one day I'm sitting back watching this Christopher Columbus documentary, and I seen a picture that was very interesting. And like the OGs always told me, they gonna put it right in your face. And this is what I seen.
Not far from the Spanish mine, there is a modern one. Today, huge earth movers must sift through thousands of tons of rock to find a few grams of gold. With no such technology at their disposal, the Spaniards resorted to a different system: slavery. But the enslaved Arawak quickly died out from overwork and disease. Then, African slaves were brought from across the ocean. The island became the first place in the Americas to be colonized by the Spanish, and the first place to which African slaves were brought. Today's Haitians are their descendants. Less vulnerable to European diseases, the Africans survived, while the Arawaks did not.
And I ain't even gonna front. They was going off on that beat in that little song. But this picture right here is what caught my attention. And what's caught my attention about this picture is that the black people in the picture don't have on any clothes. And with all the documentations and the primary sources from Christopher Columbus and the first explorers, the inhabitants didn't wear clothes except for like the chiefs. And shout out to Not a Coincidence. He was able to show me what book that this picture came from. And when I took a look at the book, it didn't add up with the history. And that's what I'm talking about. Check this out. And this book is called History of the Indies. And this was copywritten and published in 1586. And you can see this at the Morgan and Library Museum. And the description is, in 1983, the Morgan Library and Museum received as the bequest of Clara S. Peck an extraordinary volume whose beautiful paintings and descriptions document the plant, animal, and human life of the Caribbean late in the 16th century. Spaniards had already begun to exert influence over the indigenous people of the area when explorers from England and France arrived, among them Sir Francis Drake. The volume, known as Drake Manuscripts, entitled History of the Indies, when it was bound in the 18th century, gives us a wonderful picture of daily life in the time of Drake's many visits to the region. And although Drake's connection to the manuscript is uncertain, he is mentioned on more than one occasion by the authors. Drake himself is known to have painted, but none of his work survives. Okay, Sir Francis Drake was a successful pirate / privateer from England. He was the first Englishman to sail the world. He was the first Englishman to steal a treasure ship from the Spanish. And he was one of the first Englishmen to deal and sell with Negro slaves. And this is the page right here where you can find the picture at inside the book on page 100. And we got the translation. How the Negroes work and look for gold in the mines of the region called Viraga, Panama. This region is very dangerous. The Negroes live there only a short time, and no day and night passes without rain, lightning, and thunder. Because this land is so close to the equator line, being not fertile in goods, it has, however, a great deal of good gold. The King of Spain permits the Spaniards in the Indies to settle, to build mines, and own the gold in them as long as they pay him the tribute of a fifth of everything they find, of gold, silver, as well as precious stones. The Spaniards do not force nor permit the Indians to work in the mines, for fear they should know the value of the gold, and knowing it, they will go to war and chase them out the country. The Spaniards buy a great number of Negroes from Africa to serve them as slaves, and when the Negroes have finished a day's of work in a group of 8 or 10, there is at the exit of these mines half a barrel filled with water, in which they wash the gold. Then put it in an iron bowl and place it on the fire to dry. When it is dry, they take it to the major domo in order to see and know from the weight how much it is. They have to give him a tribute, the value of the gold amounting to the weight of 3 ducats for each day. And if it happens that they do not find in one day the weight of in gold of 3 ducats, they are liable nevertheless to pay the tribute to the major domo. If it happens, and also that they recover a large amount, it will be their gain. Okay, they say that this work is often called Drake's manuscript, but what makes this so suspect is that it's written in the late 16th century in a French introduction, and Drake was English. So who really wrote the manuscript? And plus another thing that's suspect is that why on the documentary, why would they be disingenuous when they're talking about Hispaniola, but they're using the picture from Panama? I'm pretty sure they could have came up with some drawings and pictures from the Africans that they brought to Hispaniola, but they use a drawing from Panama. And we're going to do a more deep dive into this Panama area. And before we jump into their book, we're going to jump into this other suspect situation with Drake. So the Smithsonian magazine had came with an article and said, did Francis Drake bring enslaved Africans to North America decades before Jamestown? The English privateer arrived on the Carolina coast after sacking Spanish lands in the Caribbean, but who, if any, did he leave behind? Question mark. So now they just gonna bypass what we was taught in school, which was Jamestown in 1619 was the first place that African slaves was brought to America. Now they done moved the goalposts. But check this out. And this is a writing by Andrew Lawler in August 20th, 2018. The disappearance of 115 Elizabethans on the coast of North Carolina in 1580s is a well-known mystery. Even more enigmatic, however, is the fate of another group that may have vanished on the Roanoke Island a year before the lost colonists attempted to found English first outpost in the Americas. These unwritten settlers, a mix of enslaved North Africans, West Africans, and South Americans, may have arrived more than 3 decades before the first enslaved Africans are recorded appearing in Jamestown 399 years ago this month. Their strange story, as traced by renowned historian David, is over the course of his esteemed career, suggests that enslaved Africans were expected from their very start to play a key role in the English colonization of the Americas. The tale begins with pirates in the Caribbean. In 1585, the English privateer Francis Drake assembled a fleet called the Great Expedition to loot and pillage the Spanish towns. Drake, the first captain to circumnavigate the globe, attacked the wealthy port of Cartagena on what is now the coast of Colombia. Wheat, silver, and enslaved laborers were among the commodities that made the city a rich prize. English warships confronted a forbidden stone fort bristling with cannons and forted by war galleys rowed by enslaved Ottoman Turks, and North African Muslims or Moors, steaks dipped and poisoned by indigenous allies of the Spanish protected the landward side. When the English finally departed in the spring of 1586, they took with them the cathedral massive bronze church, along with most of the slaves and many of the convicts from the galleys, and some of the Negroes belonging to private owners. According to a Spanish report studied by Quinn, a Spaniard taken captive by the English and later released on Cuba, told authorities there that Drake also took 300 Indians from Cartagena, mostly women, as well as 200 Negroes, Turks, and Moors who do manual service. Drake then set sail for the Roanoke Islands on the North Carolina coast where some 100 men had landed the previous year in an effort organized by his friend Sir Walter Riley. And on the way, the fleet stopped at Florida, St. Augustine, a city founded 2 decades prior by the Spaniards to provide a refuge for shipwreck victims and to discourage other Europeans from settling the southeast coast. A Spanish dispatch from Havana, based on intelligence provided by 3 Africans left behind in St. Augustine, smoldering ruins, said Drake's meant to leave all the Negroes he had in a fort and settlement established at Roanoke by the English who went there a year ago. He intended to leave the 250 blacks and all his small craft there and cross the England with only the large vessel. So I thought it was 200 blacks, but now it's 250. And it's suspect. According to New York University historian Kern, Drake thought he was going to find a flourishing colony, so he brought along some slaves labor to help. But when the fleet anchored off the outer banks of North Carolina, he found the Roanoke settlers in dire strait. They were short on food and had incurred the wrath of the Carolina Algonquin speaking people by assassinating their leader, Virginia. What happened to the scores of hundreds of Africans and South Americans, however, is a puzzle. Historians know that Elizabeth reparated about 100 Turks in an effort to curry favor with the Ottoman Sultan, an enemy of her enemy, Spain. But only 3 West Africans are recorded to have arrived in England on the fleet. One then fled to Paris to find refuge with the Spanish ambassador. So they were supposed to be dropping off 250 blacks or 200 blacks. Now it's 100 Turks and 3 West Africans. And what make it really so suspect is that all the blacks in America is supposed to be descendants from West Africa, and it's only 3 on the boat. And other historians, however, contend that the Africans and South Americans likely drowned in the storm or were sold on the route to England. Why would Drake leave the equivalent of gold bullion on the Carolina coast? Okay, the enslaved laborers were valued trade items at the time, but there was no market for them in a Tudor England, and no records existed of deaths in the Outer Banks storm. The facts Quinn conceded in the 1982 article on the mystery may now never be known. Plus, what really makes it suspect is that with the amount of slaves that Drake left on the coast will be this amount. He could have bought all this for the amount of slaves that he left on the coast. And that don't make no sense that a pirate would do that. Somebody that's cutthroat that would just leave that much money. So that make it hella suspect. And this is how they be right.
All right, so we heard the first 15 minutes. We heard the first 15 minutes. I'm not subscribing to this shit. We heard the first 15 minutes of what he said. Okay? But it wasn't until he began his video that I had to say, all right, I'm gonna do this properly.
If I say to you Columbus discovered America in 1492, If I was your teacher, you said, no, Columbus didn't discover America in 1492. There were Indians here. I tell you, you flunked the course.
Strictly ghetto, nigga.
Christopher Columbus, the man they say that found America. But the question in the year 2024 in the black community is not did he find America, but was black people already in America before he got to America?
Was black people in America before he even got to America? That is the research question that Vino never answers. He gives you black people beyond dates of Christopher Columbus. He doesn't give you any authenticity of black people being in America when Columbus arrives. So, to get this going in the right direction, right, you got to deal with his sources. He showed you this. Did Francis Drake bring enslaved Africans to North America decades before Jamestown? This is what he showed you. Now, Jamestown, ladies and gentlemen, is 1619. We know the whole story about the 1619. We have the actual evidence of the 1619 through a project which provides us data inside of what transpired with two ships. One ship, then two ships. Well, let me rephrase that. Three ships. Two ships jump one ship. Two ships split. One ship comes to Virginia. The other one goes up there to Spanish Florida. The one in Spanish Florida, it reroutes itself because it's illegal to sell slaves there, and they already know that's a privateer. It makes its way back around to Virginia. Boom, you get a X amount of number of enslaved Africans coming from the Congo to enter America. That's 1619. North America, okay? And they didn't come in as officially slaves. They came in as indentured servants, contract workers, for sure. Okay, so he said he had questions regarding this article. Most of it being related to this word right here, some enslaved Africans. So I want to go back and I want to play again because you have to be, I got to stop sharing and reshare because the audio went away. And please, please like the show. So this is, I'm going to do that for sure, Keisha. I'm definitely going to do that. But Vino, this is how you properly deal with a source, brother. I don't know what you was doing. But let me get back to, and we're going to get into the pain. We're going to get into the pain that you said not a coincidence showed you. And I'm glad that not a coincidence showed you that. You know what I mean? I'm glad not a coincidence showed you that. Shout out to Not a C. So I'm going back to this 837 mark, and I want y'all to hear him himself. Listen closely.
Bring enslaved Africans to North America decades before Jamestown. The English privateer arrived on the Carolina coast after sacking Spanish lands in the Caribbean, but who, if any, did he leave behind? Question mark. So now they just gonna bypass what we was taught in school, which was Jamestown in 1619 was the first place that African slaves was brought to America. Now they done moved the goalposts. But check this out. And this is a writing by Andrew Law.
One more time. Listen to what he claims.
Which was Jamestown in 1619. English privateer arrived on the Carolina coast after sacking Spanish lands in the Caribbean, but who, if any, did he leave behind? Question mark. So now they just gonna bypass what we was taught in school, which was Jamestown in 1619 was the first place that African slaves was brought to America. Now they done moved the goalposts.
Who is they and who moved the goalposts? One more time. So let's go to his source. But first, you got to listen to him again. Let me make sure the audio is on. You know what? Most of y'all heard it. Okay, the audio is on. But I really need y'all to listen to his question before I get into this.
Yola, but they use a drawing from Panama, and we're gonna do a more deep dive into this Panama area. And before we jump into that book, we're gonna jump into this other suspect situation with Drake. So the Smithsonian magazine had came with an article and said, did Francis Drake bring enslaved Africans to North America decades before Jamestown? The English privateer arrived on the Carolina coast after sacking Spanish lands in the Caribbean, but who, if any, did he leave behind? Question mark. So now they just gonna bypass what we was taught in school, which was Jamestown in 1619 was the first place that African slaves was brought to America. Now they done moved the goalposts.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I never learned in school that Jamestown was the first place that they brought Africans to the Americas. I never learned in school that Jamestown was the first place they brought Africans to the Americas. As it pertains to Jamestown, the first Africans that touched North America, what we know today as America, that American colony, goes through Jamestown. But the first Africans were brought into the Americas. That would be Central and South America. I don't know what he just said right there. And this article doesn't even speak to that. So, the disappearance of 115 Elizabethans on the coast of North Carolina in 1580s is a well-known mystery. Even more enigmatic, however, is the fate of another group that may have vanished on Roanoke Island a year before the lost colonists attempted to found England's first outpost in the Americas. These unwitting settlers, a mix of enslaved North Africans, West Africans, and South Americans, may have arrived more than 3 decades before the first enslaved Africans are recorded appearing at Jamestown 399 years ago this month. Their strange story, as traced by renowned University of Liverpool historian David Beers Quinn over the course of an esteemed career, suggests that enslaved Africans were expected from the very start to play a key role in English colonization of Americas. The tale begins with pirates in the Caribbean. In 1585, the English privateer Francis Drake assembled a fleet called the Great Expedition to loot and pillage Spanish colonial towns. Drake, the first captain to circumnavigate the globe, attacked the wealthy port of Cartagena and what is now the coast of Colombia. Wheat, silver, and enslaved laborers were among the commodities that made the city a rich prize. English warships confronted a forbidden stone for bristling with cannons and forefronted by war galleys rowed by enslaved Ottoman Turks, and North African Muslims or Moors. Stakes dipped into poison by indigenous allies of the Spanish protected the landward side. This is how they defended it. Stakes dipped in poison. Drake's overwhelming force of veteran soldiers quickly routed the untested defenders. The invaders looted mansions, gold, Beckett, churches, before methodologically burning portions of the city until the Spanish citizens agreed to pay a ransom to make them stop. When the English finally departed in the spring of 1586, they took with them the cathedral, massive bronze church along with most of the slaves and many other convicts from galleys, and some of the Negroes belonging to private owners. According to Spanish reports studied by Quinn, a Spaniard taken captive by the English and later released on Cuba told authorities there that Drake also took 300 Indians from Cartagena mostly women as well as 200 Negroes, Turks, and Moors who do minimum service. Sailing east, Drake's convoy inexplicably missed Havana, the most important Spanish port in the Caribbean. But a persistent legend maintains that the ships crowded with people from 3 continents were struck by scurvy and dysentery until South American indigenous women went ashore on Cuba to obtain rum, limes, and mint to make a soothing remedy today known as a mojito. Drake then set sail from Roanoke Island on the North Carolina coast, where some 100 men had landed the previous year in an effort organized by his friend Sir Walter Raleigh. That's how you get Raleigh, North Carolina. On the way, the fleet stopped at Florida's St. Augustine, a city founded 2 decades prior to Spanish to provide refugees for shipwreck victims to discourage other Europeans from settling the southeast coast. The outpost threatened the English colonization effort, so Drake set the place ablaze, but not before stripping the 250 houses of their locks and other valuable hardware that could be useful on Roanoke. A Spanish dispatch from Havana, based on intelligence provided by 3 Africans left behind in St. Augustine's smoldering ruins, said Drake meant to leave all the Negroes he had in the fort in a settlement established at Roanoke by the English who went there a year ago. He intended to leave the 250 blacks and all his small craft there and cross to England with only the larger vessel. I want to pause real quick, ladies and gentlemen. No. Let me get this because he said this part. And according to New York University historian Karen Kupperman, Drake thought he was going to find a flourishing colony, so he brought along some slave labor to help. But when the fleet anchored off the Outer Banks of North Carolina, he found the Roanoke settlers in dire straits. They were short on food and had incurred the wrath of Carolina Algonquin-speaking people by assassinating their leader, Wagena. Drake agreed to provide desperately needed supplies and reinforcements and presumably slave labor. But a sudden and ferocious storm of thunder and rain with hailstorms as big as hens' eggs, according to one eyewitness, scattered his fleet. Once resembled, the colonists begged instead of taking home to England. Drake agreed on the settlers boarding the ships and returning to England. What happened to the scores of hundreds of Africans in South America, however, is a puzzle. Historians know that Elizabeth I repatriated about 100 Turks in an effort to curry favor in the Ottoman Sultan, an enemy of her enemy, Spain, but only 3 West Africans are recorded to have arrived in England on the fleet. One then fled to Paris to find refuge with the Spanish ambassador. Quinn, the dean of the Roanoke Scholars, wrote in 1974 Book of England and the Discovery of America that the only reasonable explanation is that a considerable number of Indians and Negroes were put ashore on the Carolina Outer Banks and equipped with the pots and pans, locks and bolts, boats and launches of St. Augustine. Other historians, however, contend that the Africans and South Americans likely drowned in the storm or were sold on the route to England. Why would Drake leave the equivalent of gold bullion on the Carolina coast? Larry Tides, an East Carolina University historian, told the Smithsonian, enslaved labor were valuable trade items at the time, but there was no market for them in Tudor England, and no record exists of deaths in the Outer Banks storm. The facts Quinn conceded in a 1982 article on the mystery may now never be known. Scholars agree, however, that what is most striking about the incident is the obscurity. The saddest part of the story, and perhaps the most revealing, is that no one bothered to say what happened to these enslaved people. Noted historian Edmund Morgan in his 1975 American Slavery, American Freedom. Nor has there much subsequent interest in this other potential lost colony. So this is why I wanted to stop. The moral of the story is the black people that they are saying was a part of this voyage with Sir Francis Drake were Africans. Whether they died, whether they reached land and was left behind in Roanoke, It doesn't matter. They were African. Along with South Americans, there was a divide and split. This source is telling you that. This source is not saying, right, that there was an already established colony in the Americas. It is saying to you that there is the potential of Africans being in the Americas and coming by the way of Sir Francis Drake. That's what this article is detailing you. It's not saying nothing more, nothing less. Now, you started your video, buddy. You started your video bringing up Christopher Columbus. Why the hell are we at Sir Francis Drake? Do you not understand the meaning of a historical timeline? You started with Christopher Columbus, jumped over him and went to Sir Francis Drake. Then you start talking about Panama. All of this predates Christopher Columbus. This is what I mean already, which is the problem with your information. Period, point blank. You can't get around it. You can't do none of that, bro. There's nothing that you actually can do. Nothing. Absolute zilch. Nothing. You started with Columbus, started asking questions, then you jump to Sir Francis Drake, then you start showing other pictures that come beyond that fact. So you don't have a methodology that allowed you to even flow through this video. But you said watch it, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch it. So again, this article is providing you information that there is a potential of 100 Africans being left in what we know today as North Carolina by Sir Francis Drake. That is the proposal of this particular article. And some scholars say it may be a little bit murky, but we don't know what happened to the people he brought with him to the Americas. What we do know is that they were brought from Africa with Sir Francis Drake. They were Africans. But we don't know what happened to them. There was no slave market where he was returning to, so it made no benefit to him to even try to bring them back to England where he was going. So he needed to either dump them off or send them on their way something else. Whatever the case may be, it says it right here. It's obscure because until the last 30 years, nobody cared about lost Africans and Indians. The purpose of this article written at this time in 2018 was the simple fact that people was doing research and understood something to be one thing, but nobody gave a damn about those 100 Africans. So, man. Do I just want to jump straight into? Yes. Let me just jump around real quick. Since you brought it up, and since you think not a coincidence so much that when we did this live stream, and I like how you try to keep my name out your mouth. I appreciate that. But when we did this live stream and you brought this photo up, I clearly told you that these people that you kept saying in this painting was African. I have the clip on the show. I should have ran back to it and got it for you because I read this to you live on the show. You kept saying, no, they ain't, because them Africans that came with them had to wear clothes. These people was naked. They ain't naked. They covering up their private parts. But what you didn't want to realize is when I got you down about right here in this paragraph, right here, where it says, the Spaniards do not force nor permit the Indians to work in the mines for fear they should know the value of gold. For knowing it, they would go to war and chase them out the country. The Spaniards buy a great number of Negroes from Africa to serve them as slaves. And when the Negroes have finished the day's work in a group of 8 or 10, there is at the exit of these mines half a barrel filled with water in which they wash the gold. Then they put it on the iron bowl and place it on fire to dry it. When it is dry, they take it to the major domo, whom they call maitre d'hotel, in order to see and know from the weight how much it is. They have to give him as tribute the value of the gold amounting to the weight of 3 ducats for each day. If it happens that they do not find one in the day that weight in the gold of the 3 ducats, I said ducats, they are liable nevertheless to pay the tribute to the major domo. If it happens also that they recover a larger amount, it will be their gain. That is exactly what is going on in this writing right here that is depicting the people in this picture. But on a live show, you told me, never mind what the description of the picture is saying, that these people was naked. The people that they brought with them wore clothes. Bruh, they are in the scorching heat in Panama. What are you talking about? So if I'm following you around, right? You showed this picture too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Under Sir Francis Drake, 1586. But see, that's the thing that you don't even comprehend. You don't comprehend it. Sir Francis Drake, it just debunks your whole myth that you think that black people been in the Americas before Columbus, which we still ain't got to that. We still ain't got to that. So let me unshare and let's get back to the video. You see how quickly you've been refuted on your earliest points within the first 15 minutes by properly analyzing the data, understanding that there's a chronology, and then moving on from that point to collect your data and actually analyzing the shit and reading it and comprehending what you're reading. You did none of that. None of that. You just was rapping and talking, bro. No, my answer is not the fact that it was just scorching heat. It was the simple fact that in the description, they tell us in detail in their language that these people were Africans. These Negroes was brought from Africa, is what it says. You can't go beyond that and then superimpose your belief onto a source. The source never said that they were Indian. The source told us that these Negroes that were working in these gold mines was fucking Africans. And this is in the 1580s. You don't have a chronology. So now let me get back to this bullshit. And what did I stop you at? 15? Yeah, I stopped you right here. You said some stupid shit. Let's continue.
Our understanding of the role of enslaved Africans in early English settlements, long presumed to have first arrived at Jamestown in 1619 to cultivate tobacco. So they gonna take all that away now and say it's this story now. And this is what we coming with, the Sir Francis Drake collection copy. We got the hard copy right there.
You ain't got the hard copy. That's a picture.
Sir Francis Drake Revived, published and copy written in 1695. And where is it coming from? The Library of Congress. And it's a rare book collection. And this is another drawing and image of Sir Francis Drake. You see they got the hand coming out the sky, touching them, blessing them with his seal. I guess that's what it means, but you see him. That's him right there. The English Hero, or Sir Francis Drake Revived, being a full account of the dangerous voyages, admirable adventures, notable discoveries, and magnanimous achievements of the valiant and renowned commander, as one, his voyage in 1572 to Nombre de Dos in the West Indies, where they saw a pile of bars of silver near 70 foot long and 10 foot broad and 12 foot high. 2, his encompassing the whole world in 1570s, which he performed in 2 years, 10 months, gaining a vast quantity of gold and silver. 3, his voyage into America in 1585 and taking the towns of St. Fargo, St. Domingo, Cartagena, and St. Augustine. 4, his last voyage into those countries in 1595, where the manner of his death and burial. This is the 4th edition.
Real quick. So he's reading from this source, ladies and gentlemen. And while he's reading from this source, if y'all are not paying attention, he's repeating dates. He's repeating dates. Right? He talked about a 4th edition written in 1695. He said that. Of something that was written at first in 1580s. He's not talking about when Christopher Columbus was here. Remember, his very first question in this build was, what? Was black people here before Columbus arrived? That is his exact argument initially. Was black people here before Columbus arrived? And now we are stuck with Sir Francis Drake for another 15 minutes. You don't believe me? Listen to his question.
If I say to you, Columbus discovered America in 1492, if I was your teacher, you said, no, Columbus didn't discover America in 1492. There were Indians here. I tell you, you flunked the course.
Strictly ghetto, nigga.
Christopher Columbus, the man they say that found America. But the question in the year 2024 in the black community is not did he find America, but was black people already in America before he got to America?
The question is not that he found America, but were there black people in America before he even got to America? He predates, and this is the problem. He predates Sir Francis Drake. So why the hell, if you ask this, let me do this right. Let me do this right. V-Note, you asked yourself a research question. The research question that you asked, that you proposed to the people in this video was, were there black people in America before Columbus discovered America? Now you have to etch out the specifics of that argument. So you got to start before Christopher Columbus. You didn't do that. You ain't even started with Christopher Columbus because you don't even give us Christopher Columbus's accounts. You took us immediately to Sir Francis Drake, and now we are stuck with Sir Francis Drake, and you don't even know why you're reading Sir Francis Drake.
Our understanding of the role of enslaved Africans in early English settlements, long presumed to have first arrived first at Jamestown in 1619 to cultivate tobacco. So they gonna take all that away now and say it's this story now. And this is what we coming with, the Sir Francis Drake collection copy. We got the hard copy right there. Sir Francis Drake Revived, published and copywritten in 1695. And where is it coming from? The Library of Congress. And it's a rare book collection. And this is another drawing and image of Sir Francis Drake. You see they got the hand coming out the sky, touching him, blessing him with his seal. I guess that's what it means, but you see him. That's him right there. The English hero, or Sir Francis Drake, Revived, being a full account of the dangerous voyages, admirable adventures, notable discoveries, and magnanimous achievements of the valiant and renowned commander, as one, his voyage in 1572 to Nombre de Dos in the West Indies, where they saw a pile of bars of silver near 70 foot long and 10 foot broad and 12 foot high. 2, his encompassing the whole world in 1570s, which he performed in 2 years, 10 months, gaining a vast quantity of gold and silver. 3, his voyage into America in 1585 and taking the towns of St. Fargo, St. Domingo, Cartagena, and St. Augustine. 4, his last voyage into those countries in 1595 were the manner of his death and burial. This is the 4th edition.
1595 being his last voyage before his death. So none of these quote unquote discoveries or travels predate Christopher Columbus. I'm trying to drive this point home to you, V-Note, so you can properly understand where your error lies in trying to answer the research question that you projected. You put forth a research question that said, were there black people here in the Americas before Columbus? And here you give your first source is regarding the 1580s. And you're using accounts from Sir Francis Drake to predate Columbus. This is what I asked you last night when I asked you if 1492 is before or after the 1580s. And you didn't understand why I kept asking you that question. Because I'm proving to you that your chronology is correct. My bad, that your chronology is horrible. Because you don't know math. You're working at a disadvantage in trying to answer your research question. You can't start with Sir Francis Drake. You have to find someone that's among the Spanish that would predate Christopher Columbus, who has firsthand accounts and evidence that would prove that there was fucking black people, i.e. Africans, people of African descent, or just in general, if they look like black people, you would have to have these people writing these accounts and saying that. But if they're telling you that they look like but are not, then that's that you all over the place. You're debunked again because you can't prove your existence that you claim to be. So let's go.
License entered to London. Okay, so we're going to start off on page 4. We got a date, July 7th, 1572.
We got a date, page 4, July 7th, 1572. Does that predate Christopher Columbus? The answer to that is no. It doesn't predate Christopher Columbus. This proves to us Since the earliest voyages to the Americas, they were bringing black people with them. From where? Africa. There were no black people already here. They telling you this. You won't even read the beginning of this. For the Spaniards, which you had here, which you the last year have betrayed this place and taken away all that you left here. I departed from hence this present of July, the 7th of July, 1572. Your very loving friend, John Garrett. Why are you using the date of 1572, July 7th of 1572, and you don't understand what is going down in this paragraph? You did not want to read.
London. Okay, so we're gonna start off on page 4. We got.
Hold up. I'm trying to catch it, and I missed it barely. Golly.
London. Okay, so we're gonna.
So here's the disadvantage that we have is because where he's starting at, we just can't get it. We would need page 3, really page 1. He doesn't read any of this. So we don't know what's going on in this paragraph. The first thing we do know is that he recognizes that there's a date there, but listen to what he says about this date.
We're gonna start off on page 4. We got a date, July 7th, 1572, where Sir Francis Drake is acknowledging his partner friend, John Garrett. Okay, so
He wasn't in 15. He wasn't acknowledging his friend John Garrett. John Garrett is telling him something because it says your very loving friend John Garrett. So John Garrett wrote something to Sir Francis Drake. We don't even know what it is that John Garrett wrote to him because you didn't want to tell us. So what was the significance of it? We just know it happened on July 7th of 1572. What's the relevance to the research question? What does John Garrett's letter to, which you didn't even know was a letter, what's the relevance of John Garrett's letter to Sir Francis Drake on July the 7th in 1572 as it pertains to the research question, was black people in the Americas before Columbus?
we're going to stroll down page 4 and we get to another date, July 22nd. It's the same year, 1570.
July 22nd, same year. We scroll down. We still don't even understand the goddamn first date, let alone you giving us a whole other date. What, man? What is being said here? What is being said here? This is what I mean by cherry picking. You don't have context. You don't know what you're talking about. So while you were sitting here scrolling down, beyond that, something very significant could have been transpired. The smoke they saw was from a fire made by Garrett at his departure in a great tree, which had continued burning at least 5 days before their arrival. Notwithstanding this warning, Drake resolved to build his pences in the convenient port, which they finished in 7 days by the help of some large trees growing there near 40 yards about, being white and as heavy as brazelwood. There came into the same bay an English bark of the Isle of Wight or Wright, James Roth, captain, with 30 men, some of whom had been there with Drake the year before. Let me pause. We don't know why. Well, we know now that Garrett was burning enough wood. He made a big enough fire to burn for 5 days as a warning not to come into this particular area for some particular reason. So to go somewhere else. So now we know what they said. Let's get on down here.
John Gert. Okay, so we're going.
Then you bring us right here. So now we know that some wood was burning. We know that there was 30 men, some of whom had been with Drake the year before. They brought in a Spanish caravel of advice boat bound for Nombre de Dios and the shallop with oars taken at Cape Blanc and being acquainted with Drake's design. They joined with him therein. So July the 22nd, they sailed out of the harbor for Nombre de Dios and coming in 3 days to the Isles of the Pinos.
I'll stroll down page 4 and we get to another date, July 22nd. It's the same year, 1572. They sailed out of the harbor for Nombre de Dios and coming in 3 days in the Isles of Pinos took 2 frigates laden with plank and timber from Nombre de Dios. The Negroes aboard informed them of the present state of the town and that some soldiers were daily expected from the governor of Panama to defend it against the Maroons, a black people who about 80 years past fled from the cruelty of their masters, the Spaniards, and grew into since a nation under 2 kings of their own, one inhabiting westward and the other east, in the way from Nombre de Dios, Panama, who had almost surprised the town 6 weeks before. Captain Drake, resolving not to hurt these Negroes, set them ashore on the mainland, that if they would, they might join themselves to the Maroons.
So Drake is telling these Negroes, if y'all want to go hang with these dudes over here, y'all are more than welcome to go hang with them dudes because those are your people. Them Negroes, them Cimarroons are y'all. Y'all are related. But who is these people that was on the boat with him? Not only was it defined as Negro, but it told you before then that these people had came with him before. So we know that these Negroes are the Africans that they've been saying, that they've been relied on in Sir Francis Drake's writings. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to get to Sir Francis Drake's writings. Yeah, whatever you think you got. Yeah, I got. I do. I got 2. That's what makes it so fun for me, is that you think that you got something and you ain't got shit. But I'm going to let you keep on. Let's go.
Okay, so now we got Negroes in the same area in 1572. We have a drawing from 1586.
You got Negroes in the area in 1572. They've been bringing Negroes since the 1490s. So apparently, you do the math. You got a painting from 1580. If you go 80 years back, that's the 1500s. You try to go around and swindle it and say the painting is from what? How you gonna swing this again? Because you trying to make it be like 1490s and still your math ain't mathing. Listen to your math. Listen to your math yourself out of your own mouth.
In the same area in 1572, we have a drawing from 1586 of Negroes.
So you have a drawing from 1586 of Negroes, and your source refers to about 80 years back. because you stuck on hearing 80 years back, because it says right here. It says right here, a black people about 80 years past fled from the cruelty of their masters, the Spaniards. If the painting is from 1586 and you go back 80 years past, you still in the 1500s. You ain't even before Columbus. I knew you could not count, bro. I knew you could not count. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and you're not even thinking. You're not even thinking, because last night on Not a Coincidence show, you tried to say that it goes back to the 1400s, the 1490s is what you tried to say, the math. It don't say that. You said the painting is from the 1580s, 1586. Sir Francis Drake's source is telling you from 80 years past, meaning the early 1500s. They were bringing black people with them before that. Do you think black people was already going to be here? No. They were bringing people. So this is what I mean by your timeline is messed up, because had you started your argument to answer your research question with an accurate timeline, then you would be able to set out to correct yourself. Instead, you went from, were there black people here before Columbus, to trying to set your argument in the 1570s and 80s with Sir Francis Drake. And then you can't even math. You can't even count. So I know people been getting over you for a long time. You don't even know how to add and subtract. You don't know if 2 is less than or greater than 10. Is 2, I'm going to ask you again, is 2 less than or greater than 10? I'm going to give you some time to answer that.
Negroes in the same area, but the Negroes in this area in 1572 is saying that they already been there for 80 years. So that would take us back to 1492, the first.
Pause. Now listen, the painting is from 1580s to 1586. Then you turned around and gonna say, well, they saying in 1572 that the black people been here since X, Y, and Z. That's gonna take us back to X, Y, and Z. The painting has no listen, either the painting has a correlation with what you're arguing or the painting does not. And what I mean by that is, you either, if you're using this painting from 1586 to argue your point on the math, you're wrong. If you're using this painting to insinuate black people being here before then, you're wrong. Either way you try to shave this point, you're wrong. Because if you can't use 2 different dates, you can't use a painting to let you not say that. I'm going to let you say everything because you keep saying that. But I'm showing you you're wrong in both arguments that you're trying to make, because you can't say 80 years past when you're using a painting from 1586. That don't math. And even if you use 1572 and try to come down 80 years, count it up. Count it. Do your math. I'm waiting on you to respond. Do your math. Do it. 1572, take the higher number, 1572, and subtract it by 80 years past. It's going to go right back to the point of 1492, which is what you insinuated based on the 1572 date. But even still then, this doesn't say that there were black people before the arrival of Columbus, because guess what? Columbus is in the Americas in the 1490s. But we know that he's not the only Spanish sailor, because this source just told us that these black people from 80 years past were fleeing from the damn Spanish. Who was with Columbus? The Spanish. You ain't predated Columbus yet. At all. You are null and void. We still waiting for our answer. Your math ain't mathing. Your argument is poor.
For sure that Christopher Columbus got to America. They say they got two nations going east and west.
This how dumb he is. So he's in the chat and he's saying, nigga just said the same math I did. No, what I said was you can't use a painting from 1586 and then try to use Sir Francis Drake on that painting to insinuate that some people. All right, let me slow it down because maybe you don't understand this. So let me slow it down, brother. All right. So if Sir Francis Drake is talking about some people from Africa, because that's who the Maroons were, they're people from Africa. These people are from Africa, the Maroons. We cleared this up with you yesterday. So my point is this: if this people from Africa, right, that are fleeing the Spanish, right, and Sir Francis Drake is in 1572 having this conversation, how does a painting that would come 10 plus years later, 14 years later, be explaining something that Sir Francis Drake is explaining right here? How? Or even going back to 1492? How? You're not making sense. But what this is telling us that when the Spanish arrived here, that they had Africans on their ships. It's what it's saying. Everybody in the chat can look up what a Cimarron is. We did it for you yesterday. We did it for you a while back. We don't even need to play this game no more. We know that these are people of African descent. What does it say? These black people who about 80 years past fled from the cruelty of their masters. So they were slaves. They were owned by Spaniards. And not only that, it don't even tell us that it was a whole lot of them. It says they grew since into a nation under two kings. So there was enough of them to flee the Spaniards and then grow themselves into their own nation under two kings of their own. One inhabiting the westward and the other inhabiting the eastward in the way of the Nombre de Dios to Panama. It says Nombre de Dios to Panama. So your painting that's describing Africans in 1586 ain't even referring to what Sir Francis Drake is referring to. I don't even know how to clearly explain to you how freaked up this is that you're trying to present a 1586 painting at the time of Sir Francis Drake's explanation, explaining to you that these runaway Africans that they are calling Maroons, these black people, are from Africa. And it was enough for them to go live over in two separate areas and build their own up. And then Sir Francis Drake turned around and says, hey, to the people that was with him, if you want to go be with your people, feel free. Go ahead.
So are those people that's naked in that picture the same people that Drake is having a conversation with now?
Brother, a nation is not a lot. You asked me, so a nation is not a lot. You're looking at a nation like the United States of. You're looking at things incorrectly. First of all, it says they grew themselves under two kings. Grew sense into a nation under two kings. So they grew themselves. That don't mean that there was 100,000 people here, bro. That doesn't mean that there was 20,000 people here, bro. That doesn't mean it was 2 million people here, bro. They basically had enough people, more than the goddamn white people that was here, to go in two separate parts of the island and grew themselves there. Meaning that these Africans was having sex with each other and grew themselves. So hell no, they ain't indigenous to this land. They got here by the way of the Spanish. So you still have not predated Christopher Columbus, and you still have not proven that black people was here before Christopher Columbus, because you can't even do simple ass math. You just all over the place. What you think black people gonna do? What you think black people gonna do? What you think humans gonna do in general? When you isolate humans, you got a group of men and a group of women isolated. On one side, a group of men, a group of women isolated. On another side, they are naturally going to have sex, bro. You're not going to be in the same place, same space as a female and not come on to her or not scratch that itch. It's just not going to happen. Naturally, something's going to come over one or two of y'all. It's going to go down. Well, I don't know. It might not happen for you like that. In some instances, you might just be one of those dudes who've never been in a situation to where you've gotten too close to a woman and that kind of situations for you. I don't know. I mean, you do look like you hitting a straight shoot on your selfie. You might want to change your picture up. But let me let you finish.
And I also want to put this out there before we move on, is that within this book, it's never mentioned that Turks, West Africans, North Africans, or Indians were dropped off in North Carolina within this book that's given great details about his voyage.
This ain't got this, first of all, you ain't even read the whole book. That's one thing. To say what you're saying right now, this book is about something totally different than that other source. You ain't even read this book. So you don't know if this book is going to mention North Carolina or not. You ain't read the book. So you don't even know. What you should know is from the proposed cherry picking on page 4 of the book, that the black people that they are referring to, let me rephrase it. This is what you do know. That Garrett wrote something to Sir Francis Drake. Garrett committed an act to warn Sir Francis Drake not to enter in a certain area. So Sir Francis Drake goes somewhere else, finds great shelter, and builds from there. But while he comes there, he sees some people that he knows been there for some 80 years past. Those people that he saw from some 80 years past were black. They were Maroons. They were escaping their masters. So they fled from their masters and isolated themselves in unique areas and took up 2 parts of a place, and they ruled themselves in favor of that. It doesn't take a clan much, bruh. The first humans to do this behavior were all in small groups. Just like the people who populated the Americas, just like the people who populated all over Africa. When you look at these migrational patterns, you see small groups. Sir Francis Drake never tells us that there was thousands of black people. He says they grew themselves. They've been there long enough to grow themselves. It only takes 9 months to have a child. In some instances, some people have them in 7, 8. We prefer not, but some people just give labor around that 8th month, 9th month, let's say on average. If you have enough females, adult females, which in instances we may have the data for that because we knew that they liked separating the men and women. That's neither here nor there. That's a whole other thing. That's not the research question. The research question is, were black people in the Americas before Columbus arrived? Sir Francis Drake does not answer your research question. What's next?
Voyages and about his trips in the Caribbean. Now back to the black people that's in Panama. Now check this out. I got this from this book right here, The Life and Voyages of Christopher Columbus by Washington Irving. Copy written in 1893. In chapter 29, the discovery of Trinidad and the coast of Paria, arrival at San Domingo. So they put a date on it. It's the 30th of May, 1498. He had been assured by persons who had traded.
Hey, real quick. Which trip is this for Christopher Columbus? Is this his first trip? Is this his second trip? Or is this his third trip to the Americas? Which trip is this? Do you know? Why are you proposing this? There is so much more information in this book before you get to this chapter. But let's see how you utilize this. Because guess what? I showed the book yesterday and I let you know I've been sitting on the book for quite some time. But now that I've seen you make a video, I finally get to say, aha, you got.
To the east, that the rarest objects of commerce such as gold, precious stones, drugs, and spices were chiefly to be found in the regions about the equator, where the inhabitants were black or darkly colored, and that until he arrived among people of such complexion, it was not probable he would find these articles in great abundance. Columbus.
Did you read that clearly? Did you read that? He had been assured by persons who had traded to the east that the rarest objects of commerce, such as gold, precious stones, drugs, and spices, were chiefly to be found in the regions about the equator, where the inhabitants were black or darkly colored, and that until he arrived among people of such complexions, it is not probable he would find those articles in great abundance. So he would not find the articles, meaning the stones, the drugs, the spices, the gold. It wouldn't have been of abundance. But let me hear how you're going to flip this. And I'm going to go right on to this book.
Expected to find such people more to the south or southeast. He recollected that the natives of Hispaniola had spoken of black men who had once come to their island from the south, their heads of whose javelin were Ghanan or adulterated gold. Okay, so this is one of the first writings where they say that black people is in America. So this is 1498. This is 6 years after Christopher Columbus found Hispaniola. And when we go back to the text,
you see what you just did? That was a no-no. That was a no-no. You see what you just did? Huh? Let's listen to it again. Watch him. Watch him. Watch how he flipped from Columbus in 1498 to back to Drake. This ain't even Columbus's first voyage, my brother. Why are you bringing this up?
1498. This is 6 years after Christopher Columbus found Hispaniola. And when we go back to the text in 1572, they say that they already been in Panama for 80 years. So that's going back to 1492. So black people that come from the South, hey, they in the area. So it's a possibility. And so then I come across this other book.
Hold on. So now you're dealing with probabilities because now you're trying to say that the black people to the South, no, that's not what that said. That's not what Columbus said. Nope, it's not. And this ain't even his first trip. So, because you wanted to be such a smart guy, right? You wanted to be so smart. Yeah, you see the screen. This your source right here, right? Yep. Saying the exact same thing you've been saying. All of this. So there's a story before this page. Oh, is it? I didn't know that. So there's 200 and something pages of information before you get to that one trying to flip the script. What is this saying? I'm just trying to figure out why you would skip over all of this. Why would you skip over this stuff? Why would you skip over this stuff? Even in his descriptions. Why would you? Oh, you got this painting in here too. You see this right here? Yeah. You got this? Let me reverse it for the people real quick. Hold on. I might be froze on y'all ass. Oh, I need to zoom out. Turn again. Dang, it's more slow than my glasses. Hold on, y'all. I have come to that point where I got to do something real slick. Oh, dang it. It flipped the wrong way. Okay, so I finally got above where he was at. 1493. I just wanted to show y'all this real quick. Fate of the Fortress of La Navidad, transactions at the harbor, 1493. So there was something that 5 years, 5 years, right? That ain't it. Because that 1492 comes back, and I'm gonna come back to that picture real quick because he's got that picture in a color format, and y'all gonna see it real quick in his video. Yeah, and I know where you got that too. Even you got this in there too, because Columbus book got these little paintings in here of these Indian people. I'm really trying to flip this picture, and this mug ain't rotating the way I want it to right now. Rotation game, trash. Dang it, it skipped over it again. Let me do it one more time. It's gonna flip it back to normal. There you go. Then it flipped back. I clicked it too many times. But y'all saw it. So I don't even care about showing it no more. So Columbus had activity 1493. Look at this. Departure of Columbus on his second voyage of discovery, arrival at Hispaniola in 1493. So I'm just trying to show y'all that there's a lot of stuff that transpires before 1498. So his point of showing 1498, why? I don't even know. But there's a lot more information, a hell of a lot more information versus what you said. And I had to go back damn near 100 pages because you was on 216 of this book. of this book. And I know you didn't read it because you so caught up in trying to cherry pick some shit. You didn't even take into account how many voyages Columbus even had. You're just gonna try to come back and go to some 1498 shit and make your argument. I'm trying to do this without skipping past my thing, cause all right. $199. 25. There go that paint again. This that paint that he used. And I got a color rendition of this particular stuff, but you know, it is what it is. So all this information that that comes before 1498, you ignored it to go directly to 1498 and try to swing your little claim. You did. You try to swing your little claim, bro. And what's bad is instead of being having some sense of integrity, you won't even take the correction.
Discoveries of the world from the black people that come from the South. Hey, they in the area, so it's a possibility. And so then I come across this other book, Discoveries of the World, from the original onto the year of our Lord 1555, from the Cambridge University Press, the Hawklot Society. It was copywritten and published in 1605. 1563, they giving it up. All right, so let me tell you what's going on in this area before they discovered Negroes in the Panama area. What has become of many Spaniards, Portuguese, and who gambled in the Antilles and India of so much gold, silver, spice, drugs, pearls, jewels, and merchandise that was brought since all is wasted and consumed, leaving no fruit. And anyone who appeared to have any soul lost his life. That's how it was down there in this area, cutthroat. And in the year 1502, one Alfonso went to discover the terra firma and followed his course till he came to the province of Yoruba. And it is said that they found the captain, Lewis, and they together took land in the Isles of Codigo, where they took 600 persons of savages, and going forth along the coast, they entered into the Gulf of Yoruba, where they found sand mangled with gold, being the first that has brought to the king, Don Fernando. From this, they returned to the city of San Domingo, laden with slaves, without victuals, because they of the country would not bargain with them, which grew to their great trouble and grief. Okay, I will be going back and forth from this book, The 8 Decades of Peter Martyr, and the other book, because they talking about the same area and the same situation, but it's two different walks of life. You see?
You ain't even understood the first goddamn source, let alone to be jumping from one source to another. You never qualified this particular source as it pertains to the even conversation. There's nothing that you brought out in this book, The Discoveries of the World, that supports anything that you're arguing. Your research question states was black people you said that black people in 2024 at begging the question that was there black people in the Americas before Columbus. You have yet to predate Columbus and provide adequate information. So now you done took us out the realms of the discoveries of the world, and now we're dealing with Bartholomew de la Casse. And you really don't know what the hell you're doing with this, because he ain't even helping you.
It was copywritten and published in 1912. And they're talking about the same people within that same area of Cartagena. Ojeda, who was the first to arrive, was likewise the first to leave, starting with his men in search of Yoruba, which is under his jurisdiction. On his way there, he came upon an island named Laferta, which lies halfway between Yoruba and the harbor of Cartagena. There he landed and found it inhabited by fierce cannibals, of whom he captured 2 men and 7 women. The others managed to escape. And to ensure that all the Aborigines were reduced to Christian life and governance, and that the royal tribute and other services were forthcoming.
And don't none of these motherfuckers is in this painting right here illustrate or determine that they were black and that they were something else. Don't none of this, based on the depictions of how things were, don't none of this help you out.
And the crown from the days of Queen Isabella ordered that scattered Indians be concentrated in towns and villages, each with its church and schools and simple forms of local government. So it appeared in the instructions issued to Nicholas in 1503 and in the laws of Burgess in 1512. And in 1504, Rodrigo obtained license of King Fernando, and by the means of John and other Seville named and furnished out 2 ships, having for his pilot one John Cosa of St. Mary Port. And he went to discover that part of terra firma. And in the year 1508, one Alfonso and Diego, with the favor of Don Fernando, purposed to go into the terra firma to conquer the province of Durn. He went forth at his own charge and discovered the firm land, where it is called Yoruba, which he named Castadella Ore, that is, Golden Castella, because of the gold which they found among the sand along the coast. And they were the first Spaniards that did this. For this, one governed Yoruba and the other Bergra. Alfonso went first from the island of Hispaniola in the city of San Domingo with fewer ships and 300 soldiers, leaving behind him the bachelor and Cisco, who afterwards compiled a book of these discoveries. And after him there went also one ship with victuals, muttons, and 150 Spaniards. He went on the land of Cartagena, but there the people of the country took, slew, and ate 80 of his soldiers, whereupon he grew very weak. Now this place down here where they found these black people was the first area where they started enslaving the people of America once they first.
Bruh, why is you lying? Why is you lying? This map shows sources of Indian slaves for the Spanish Empire, 1494 to 1530. One more time, it says, Map 1, sources of Indian slaves for the Spanish Empire in 1494 to 1530s. They ain't talking about motherfucking black people. They say sources of Indian slaves from this particular time period. And the source you read before that never established the fact that there were black people around these particular parts that were being enslaved. Brother, the fucking black people that were in these areas, they brought them there. They told you that. Sir Francis Drake told you that. The hell is wrong with this dude? Like, real spill, what's wrong with you, bro? Well, go ahead.
Left Hispaniola. And they didn't get established in the
FYI, this ain't even Hispaniola. This, what you're showing, this is South America. This area is South America. Hispaniola is up there. You ain't in Hispaniola. This map ain't even telling you it's in Hispaniola.
area as far as settling until 1510.
Look at that.
So just like when we go back to the story with the black people within their area said in 1572 they already been there for 80 years beefing with the Spaniards. So that goes back to 1592, which we give it a 10-year run to 1502 to say that they was off a little bit. It's still bumping with this area where the people was already here. They wasn't brought over here as slaves. These are people that was already here. And let's push it up 10 more years to.
You don't know what you talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
1512 instead of 1502 and say, okay, they was off 60 years instead of 80. They been there. It's still suspect because they never did settle in that area during that time. They were still exploring. They didn't settle there until 1513. So that time frame is way off. And then on top
of us, how are they way off? How did you come to the conclusion that they were way off? Based on what? Your 1580 painting? Make it make sense. How are they way off? How did you come to the conclusion? Based on what data drove you to conclude this matter in this way? When you can't even add and subtract. You don't know if 2 is greater than 10 or if 10 is greater than 20. You have yet to prove that. And it's okay, because I don't expect you to be a genius, bro. My expectations for you are not for you to even. When I understood you to have low comprehension, I had lowered my expectations for you. And you have yet to go before Christopher Columbus. Still, we using your information. The only source I didn't pull up is this one because I did not want to waste my time showing you how much more wrong you are. I wanted to really come to a halt, which I can because you finna embarrass yourself, and then get into the rest of everything else I need to get into without showing this junk of shit that you got going on the back half of this other 23 minutes.
For that, if they was Africans and they was bringing them over here, they wouldn't have been naked like they was in that picture. They would have been clothed.
Why the fuck do you think that the fucking Africans would have been fully clothed working out in the hot ass heat? All right, so how many people have been to Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, anywhere near the equator? How many people have been anywhere near the equator in the Caribbean area, in areas? Just anywhere in the Caribbeans near the equator. How many people been? So let me just break it down to you. When you get off the plane, you feel it immediately. It is hot. It's immediately hot. 80 degrees. It can be 80 degrees there every single day. 80 degrees. But that 80 degrees has a humidity index of 100 degrees. So as soon as you then woke up, got yourself together, got dressed, walked down the stairs of your resort hotel, you're sweating. You ain't even make it to go get some food and you're sweating. You just trying to go to the restaurant at the resort, and just in 5 minutes, you sweating automatically because of the humidity. Then you sit, you eat, you trying to keep cool, so you hydrating. Then you walk back to the room, if that's the move. And then you like, F it, I'm taking all my clothes off. That's why the men walk around there in just shorts, no shirt on. That's why they tell the women, that's why they always say you might as well just get naked if you go in there. You might as well just come out there in a halter top and some little bit of shorts. Because it's hot. Who the fuck is working in the Caribbeans with pants on, with a long sleeve shirt on? Who? Show me the black people that is out there fully clothed like that. The only people that got on jeans and they may have on a little polo shirt or something along those lines are the locals, because they are so used to it and adapted to that climate that it doesn't even bother them. And that happens over a period of time. But when you take some people that is really unfamiliar with that and put them in that area, they all over the place. But let me let you get this little part out, and then I'm gonna get to edifying again, because man, we ain't even gotta watch no more of this shit.
Now we're gonna go to this website, First Blacks in Americas, where they have the first documentations of the first Africans to come.
So why you didn't give the person who showed you this first credit? You gave, not a coincidence, credence on showing you that picture and where to get it from. So why you didn't do the same thing right here? Why you try to make it look like you found some shit that you just went in one of these links in the description of the video and pulled up? Whether it been on this show or another show, why did you not give that person credence? We know why.
To America. So from 1492 to 1501, it looks like that they only brought over 2 Africans. They got young Juan, and then they got the black woman that's in the village.
Who is they only brought over 2 people? Who are the 2 people? Listen, bro. This is referring to Christopher Columbus in his first trip in 1492 to the Americas. If you click document number 071, it will take you to the primary and let you know. So I said this to you on the other show. You said there was only 1 black person, and I said, no, it wasn't no 1 black person. It was 2. And you was like, nah, I ain't see that. But then in this video, your dumb ass says it. And it don't even matter, because it was only 2 people with Columbus on his first journey. That has nothing to do with the people preceding him who are also traveling this way, who may be just only a month or maybe less behind him. But let's see what you say about this source.
Running a hospital. And then in 1497, they giving the people grants to come over.
Why you say something about a hospital? You tripping. You tripping. You seen this right here down here in 1497 to 1501 because it was a black woman who started the hospital. You reading that for 1492. So now you can't even get your shit right.
And that's in the village that's running the hospital. And then in 1497,
You see
they
that?
given the people 1592 to 1501. It looks like that they only brought over 2 Africans. They got young Juan, and then they got the black woman that's in the village.
This don't say that they brought over 2 black people from 1492 to 1501. That is not what that says. It is not what that says at all. In 1492, 2 black people went with Columbus in his first trip. 2. It doesn't talk about all the other ships. It's not talking about all the other people. It's talking about specifically with him. And then it says in 1497 what transpired. Then it says from 1497 to 1501, they found out that a black woman in a village in Santo Domingo, also known as La Negra del Hospital. Come on, man. Quit trying to trick people.
Running a hospital. And then in 1497, they given the people grants to come over to Hispaniola to start the sugar plantations where they thinking about bringing they black slaves.
Thinking about bringing.
And just like I said in 1501, it is likely that the settlers were already thinking of importing enslaved blacks to work in these enterprises. 1501 September 5th, you got the Jews, Moors are prohibited or their descendants from being admitted into the colony. So in 1501 on September 5th, they're saying that they can't come over, the blacks can't come over. 1501 September 16th, they saying that they can come over, but they have to already be Christianized. Jews or Moors are already converted. So they had to be Ladinos. The first Africans from Spain were known as Ladinos or Hispanic Africans and were soldiers, servants, settlers, or slaves. They began to arrive in America as early as the 15th century. Black Ladinos and historical ethnic community in medieval Spain. Yes. And it wasn't just Black Ladinos, it was also Bozels.
All right, so let me pause real quick because now he finna show paintings and deal with all of this, and then he try to jump back and forth between the source, and he really doesn't know what he's talking about. So for the remainder of this particular video, we're gonna shut his. We just shut him down. We're going straight into the business, right? We want to get straight into the business, and everything that he tried to show, I have in the description of the video for you. So real quick, I want to come right here to something very significant because we like to deal with primary information. And we want to talk about the letter of Christopher Columbus on his first voyage to America in 1492. So this is his first letter. So it was written in 1493 at the treasurer of Aragon, Louis de Saint Angel, who had provided Castile-Tiano Indians his settlement, La Navidad, on the north coast of present-day Haiti. So here we have it. As I know, you will be rejoiced at the glorious success that our Lord has given me in my voyage. I write this to tell you how in 33 days I sailed to the Indies with the fleet that the illustrious king and queen, our sovereigns, gave me, where I discovered a great many islands inhabited by numberless people. And of all I have taken possession of their highness, and by proclamation and display of the royal standard without opposition. To the first island I discovered, I gave the name San Salvador in commemoration of his divine majesty, who has wonderfully granted all this. The Indians call it Guanaham. The second I named the island of Santa Maria de Concepcion, the third Fernandina, the fourth Isabella, the fifth Juana, and thus to each one I gave a new name. When I came to Juana, I followed the coast of that isle toward the west and found it so extensive that I thought it might be the mainland, the province of Cathay or China. As I found no towns nor villages on the sea coast, except a few small settlements, where it is impossible to speak to the people because they fled at once. I continued the said route, thinking I could not fail to see some great cities or towns, and finding at the end of many leagues that nothing new appeared, and that the coast led northward, contrary to my wish. Because the winter had already set in, I decided to make for south. And as the wind also was against my proceeding, I determined not to wait there longer and turn back to a certain harbor, whence I sent 2 men to find out whether there was a king or large city. They explored for 3 days and found countless small communities and people without number, but with no kind of government. So they returned. Something unique here in this letter. Columbus tells us that he couldn't even speak to the people because they fled. So all these people thinking that he brought interpreters and they were doing this, that, and the third. Sway. The people fled. He says it. They dipped. They said deuces. That's not all. I heard from the other Indians I had already taken that this land was an island, and thus followed the eastern coast for 170 leagues until I came to an end. From that point, I saw other islands to the eastward and 18 leagues distance, to which I gave the name Hispaniola. I went thither and followed, or he meant thither means there. I went there and followed its northern coast to the east, and I had done in Wana, 178 leagues eastward, as in Wana. This island, like all others, is most extensive. It has many ports along the sea coast, excelling any in Christendom, and many fine, large flowing rivers. The land there is elevated, with many mountains and peaks, incomparable higher than in other center islands. They are most beautiful, of 1,000 varied forms, accessible and full of trees and endless varieties, so high that they seem to touch the sky. And I have been told that they never lose their foliage. I saw them as green and lovely as trees in the Spain in the month of May. Some of them were covered with blossoms, some with fruit, and others in the conditions according to their kind. The nightingale and other small birds of 1,000 kinds were singing in the month of November when I was there. There were palm trees of 6 or 8 varieties, the graceful peculiarities of each of one of them being worthy of admiration, as are the other trees, fruits, and grasses. There are wonderful pine woods and very extensive ranges, meadow land. There is honey, and there are many kinds of birds, and a great variety of fruits. Inland there are numerous mines of metals and innumerable people. Hispaniola is a marvel. Its hills and mountains, fine plains, and open country are rich and fertile for planting and pastures and for building towns and villages. Yada 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 yada. He's explaining everything that he is seeing. This don't look like nothing that he just showed y'all in the previous, the tip of South America. Nope. Don't look nothing like it, do it? Because he don't know what the hell he talking about. He's just sitting there superimposing his ignorance on sources that don't even agree with him. I'll leave y'all this letter. It's in the description of the video already. Don't worry. Don't worry. That's not it, though. So when you're dealing with Columbus, right? And I ain't even just really trying to get into all of that, because we done did this over and over and over again. So I'm really not trying to put you to sleep with this information that's so rich that you can't even peep game. But listen to this. Y'all can't hear that. Nope, sorry, can't hear that. They're gonna try to flag it. But anyway, this says, On August the 3rd, 1492, Columbus set sail from Spain to find all water route to Asia. This mofo is on his way to where? He think he going? For real? Asia? And where he think he going? That's what he said. But anyway, Columbus landed on an island in the Bahamas that he called San Salvador. The natives called it Guahani. For nearly 5 months, Columbus explored the Caribbean, particularly the islands of Juana, Cuba, and Hispaniola, Santo Domingo, before returning to Spain. He left 39 men to build a settlement called La Navidad in present-day Haiti. He also kidnapped several Native Americans between 10 and 25 to take back to Spain. Only 8 survived. Columbus brought back small amounts of gold as well as native birds and plants to show the richness of the continent he believed to be Asia. This is the primary over here. When Columbus arrived back in Spain on March 15, 1493, he immediately wrote a letter announcing his discoveries to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, who helped finance this. We ain't got to keep on going through all of that. Here's an excerpt from that primary, and I'm not going to read it to you, but it's here. This is the excerpt from the primary. Oh, yeah, you know I leave that for y'all in the chat. I leave that for y'all in the chat, along with many other things. So again, there's another letter, Columbus letter to Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain for 1494. Well before this 1498 bullcrap that he was trying to pull, and then Jack moved with Sir Francis Drake in the 1500s, 1572 to be exact. I don't know why he tried to pull Sir Francis Drake gonna predate Christopher Columbus. Once again, that bad math. That bad math, bro. Slows you down every time. I mean, I'm working on lowering my expectations for you, bro. I get it. I understand that I gotta lower those expectations for sure. Definitely gotta do that. Because you are horrible. But I leave a ton of sources. I don't know why I put this source on here real quick, but it's just some little things that you needed to know, like like excerpts from his writings of what he's actually defining. So this one's a good tool to be able to help you fully understand what some of the stuff is saying in the letter, in Christopher Columbus's letter, so that you can peep game. And in there, when you start seeing like Notary Public and all of this stuff, what they're referring to. So that's pretty much why I showed that. And then I want to get into his boy, Sir Francis Drizzle. Yeah. I don't worry. I got you. Now, both of the primary sources included in this packet relate to the voyages of English Captain Sir Francis Drake. Primary sources for the English Captain Sir Francis Drake. The first described Drake's onshore partnership with communities of self-emancipated, look at this, self-emancipated Africans. The Maroons, you remember them? Those are the self-emancipated Africans. Brother, what in the world of information have you stumbled up on, Sean? Why is you doing this to this young whippersnapper? He knows no right way to do this. He has no methodology. He didn't know this shit existed. Why are you set out to embarrass this brother? Because I try to tell him over and over, y'all. Try to tell him. So let's go. Philip Nichols, Sir Francis Drake, revived 1573. Oh, you kept hearing them say that about that book. It's here. But here's the beauty of it all. In 1570, English Captain Sir Francis Drake was making a name for himself raiding Spanish colonies. At the time, attacks by foreign corsairs on Spanish Panama were increasing. So remember, Panama is Spanish already by 1570s. When Drake arrives, the Spanish are ruling shit in Panama. The Spanish are ruling shit in Panama. One more time. The Spanish are running things in Panama. Drake made a name for himself by robbing and raiding the Spanish. So when he pulls up, he is on his bull. It says Drake and his crew reached Panama in 1572. Oh, wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that this brother wanted to use a painting from 1586, superimpose that painting from 1586 on a mofo named Sir Francis Drake, who arrived in Panama in 1572, which is at the same time, same precise place that he says this, where they captured enslaved people gathering wood from the Isles of the Pines. So in 1572, when Sir Francis Drake arrives, he captures people who were already enslaved. They was gathering wood. The captives told them about the nearby Nombre de Dios, which Drake and his crew raided shortly after. In the attack, Drake was wounded, but his men made contact with the cultivated alliances with nearby Maroons, them Cimarroons, through the rest of the year. So in January 1573, they informed Drake that the Spanish fleet had arrived in Nombre de Dios. Instead of sacking the settlement, Drake and the Maroons decided to raid the mule trains that brought precious metals and merchandise from Panama City. The excerpt below begins as Maroons guided the English crew into the interior of Panama. Oh, y'all didn't know that because he ain't reading the shit and he didn't even know that. So that little map that he was showing you, he didn't even know why the fuck the map was showing you that. So I'm going to tell you real quick. We were in all 48, of which 18 only were English. So out of 48 people, 18 was English. That means that there were 30 of who? Cimarroons. Who are Cimarroons? Africans. Which beside their arms bore every one of them a great quantity of victuals and provisions, supplying our want of carriage in so long a march, so that we were not troubled with anything but our furniture. And because they could not carry enough to suffice us altogether, therefore, as they promised before, so by the way of their arrows, they provided us competent store from time to time. They had every one of them two sorts of arrows, the one to defend himself and offend the enemy, the other to kill his victuals. These for fight are somewhat like the Scottish arrow, only somewhat longer and headed with iron, wood, and fishbone. But the arrows for provisions are for three sorts. The first serveth to kill any great beast near it at hand, as an ox, a stag, or wild boar. This hath a head of iron of 1.5 pounds weight, shaped in for like the head of a javelin or boar spear, as sharp as any knife, making so large and deep a wound as can hardly be believed of him that hath not seen it. The second serveth for lesser beast, and hath the head of 3/4 pound. This he most usually shooteth. The third seventh of all the manner of birds is hath the head of 1 ounce. And these heads, though thy be of iron only, yet are they so cunningly tempered that they will continue a very good age of a long time, and though they be turned sometimes, yet they will never or seldom break. The necessity in which they stand hereof continually causeth them to have iron in far greater account than gold. And no man among them is of greater estimation than he that can most perfectly give this temper unto. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because you see the word that just keeps killing this dude. As soon as we came to the place where we intended to lodge, the Maroons presently laying down their burdens, fell to cutting the forks of posts and poles of rafters and palmetto boughs or plantain leaves, and with great speed set up the number of 6 houses. So they were so skilled, they were setting these quote unquote houses up. Bruh, these them people that he was talking about to the east and to the west that he ran into, which you didn't want to read the rest of the book. I don't even want to go no further because I'm going to bring you back to the point that is going to continue to keep saying Cimarroons as you see on the screen, and I wasn't even trying to do that on purpose. Then there's primary source number 2. The Drake manuscript is a pictographic manuscript or handwritten book whose paintings and accompanying descriptions describe the plant, animal, and human life of the Caribbean late in the 16th century, when Spaniards, listen to this, when Spaniards, indigenous Americans, and African descent, both free and enslaved, were joined by increasing numbers of Europeans who hoped to seize American wealth and land for themselves. What is the second primary source referring to? God dang it, you done did it again. So them Negroes is who? God dang it, they Africans. Oh yeah, big source. You the one brought up Drake. You brought up Drake and then you didn't want to provide the information, and I dare you to try to use any of these images and misrepresent this information. Look at here. Look what's in the Sir Francis Drake descriptions again. Lord have mercy. Woo, Jesus. Come and get us even though we don't believe in you. Bruh. I'm just trying to just let you know that this whole myth of y'all thinking that black people been here before is cap. It's cap. It's cap. You don't know what you're doing, bro. You don't know what you're doing, bro. So again, I'm trying to figure out, you asked a good research question, but then you couldn't even back it up. And I just want to show y'all the sources because they here at the bottom. Yeah. You can find these in the library. I mean, in the museum. A lot of this stuff, you can go see the actual primary. But that's not all. Because I bring y'all to some other stuff, and you can listen to this page. I just don't want to listen to this page. But this gets into some Sir Francis Drake stuff. Does this look familiar to you, boy? Huh? You was running around there trying to make it look like you really had something? Huh? Yeah, all that. And then some. Like, come on, bro. You don't know who you dealing with. I don't need to play these games with you about certain things. You asked a research question and then you argued it from ignorance. Because I don't want to say that. If you just would have did this right here, you would have access to the primary in a PDF form. Then you could download it. See there, 26 pages in the PDF form. Then you could do more than just that. But that's not it. Everything, let me show it to you because it pulled up right here. Everything that you thought that you had, you didn't have, bro. You didn't have because you refused to read. And everyone knew that. Everyone kept saying, well, he ain't reading and he ain't going to read and he ain't going to do none of that. We know that. But I'm not even finna do a live demonstration of this site to show you how to get the information because it doesn't matter. You're not going to remove your bias. But I do want to get into the rest of your little images that you were showing on the screen. By the way, this book is also available to y'all. I left 2 books in the description to download PDF. And this is Revealing the African Presence in Renaissance Europe. So I'm not going to read anything to y'all. I'm actually going to scroll and I want you to see something that's going to look familiar to you. I'm just going to keep on scrolling. Hold on. I'm going to pause real quick. I got to do something. All right. I'm going to keep on scrolling. We want to look at some of these images, right? Let me back up a little bit so they can come on screen the right way. Look at that black man right there. This is who he's saying. He's saying the black people, they came over near the equator dressed like this. And the people that was naked was the Indians. Never knowing that they depicted black people also naked when they talked about them in Africa. And there's Africa all over this book. And they're telling you that these black people in Europe are from Africa. You remember he showed you this painting. He kept trying to make the argument. You see, they're fully dressed. They're dressed like this in Europe. It's colder up there for black people. This is why I tried to make you understand the scientific part of this discussion. This was so relevant to the MC1R. Who were the slaves in Europe in the Renaissance and where did they come from? They were 2 main routes by which enslaved Africans were brought to Europe, from the Eastern Mediterranean or North Africa and from the west coast of Africa. But with the exception of Spain in the mid-15th century before the commencement of the slave trade from West Africa, only a small percentage of slaves in Europe were African. The vast majority were from the Eastern Mediterranean, Russia, or Central Asia. During the Renaissance, slavery was not just a black phenomenon. Slaves in Europe were both white and black, and this we knew. Here go all them paintings. He showed y'all this picture right here too. This a black slave though. Right here. This a black slave. He from Africa. Up there in Europe where it's colder. Yeah. Come on, man. Still going down. Look how they do black people in the Renaissance. Oh, y'all seen this painting. Didn't he show you this shit in Lisbon? Mm-hmm. What about this? No, he ain't show you that. He ain't show you that either. I'm telling y'all, I left this for you. 147 pages of that thunder. And all the black people in here are all from Africa. You see black, you know Africa. But if you like, dude, you just gonna kind of make your own little argument up, then you gonna say, see, blacks ruled all this X, Y, and Z. And then you on some pseudo, you on some top-notch pseudo. But yeah, I left this with y'all for a reason. Because if you're dealing with A1 and AP, a lot of the claims that they actually make about remember, black people supposedly went to Europe and enslaved Europe. This book debunks that hypothesis that they have, where they try to argue that black people ruled Europe X, Y, and Z type shit, and then enslaved the Europeans and brought them from there to the Americas. And then the other part of their pseudo shit is that Africa had white people in it. It was the white people being enslaved. This book just puts all that to rest. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of in this images of blacks and colored. You're gonna see the word more, or black or more, and all that shit show up. This book right here, like I said, puts them in compromise with their beliefs. So I wanted to show that, but that's not it. I still got more information. I don't even want to talk about Balboa because you brought up Balboa, but I don't even feel like going the same place with you about Balboa and then beating you up on that point of your three favorite people. Balboa, Drake, and old boy. Yeah. I can get into that too. I just don't want to. I'm providing all of that. Look at that. First impressions. Showing y'all primary shit now. A letter of Columbus' first voyage. Letter of voyage from John Cabot. All right there. Let me go back real quick. Settlement. Exploration. We get into all that. I left y'all the source to get into it. So we can talk about all that is he talking about, but we can grab the primaries. We can talk about the first peoples, the first arrivals, what they saw. Look at that. The Spanish, the English, the Spanish, English artifacts. We can get into all of that. Jamestown on here, etc. Like I really, really, really got them tools. I don't even know what's up with dude, bro. It's a little slow. Power. This from 1492 to 1690, by the way. This source that I'm showing y'all right now provides all of that. Look at there. Africans. Africans 2. Indians. Indian wars. Indian relations. Rivalry 1, 2, and 3. What was the slave master relationship in Barbados? 1657. You deal with all of that. You just click on it. It's going to take you to the PDF version of what the primary is. Because this is coming from an excerpt from 1657. True and exact history of the island of Barbados. Sit your little non-English reading speaking ass down, bro. You do not want this smoke, bro. And I've already showed y'all this already. that he tried to have on the screen. I already showed y'all this. This goddamn Negroes in there that he was sitting there saying that he was sitting there saying ain't African, that he said that this depiction of these people, you know what I'm saying, was gonna be who Sir Francis Drake was explaining. I already showed y'all this. Remember, he gave credence to Not a Coincidence showing y'all this as well. So shout out to Not a Coincidence for trying to properly edify this dumbass nigga. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to take my shot. He's dumb. He's dumb. Told y'all. There you go. So I don't need to elaborate any further. I don't need to elaborate further. Vino put up a stupid argument. He had no chronology or proper methodology to answer his research question. By the end of his video, he never draws an honest conclusion. He only stays stuck in arguing his hypothesis from the perspective of a belief while trying to show you sources that don't agree with the shit that he says. What he wanted to do was give you his interpretation of things that he believed occurred or happened the way that he wanted them to happen. But when you analyze the data and you review the sources, they do not come to that conclusion. They make clear distinctions of who the people were that they saw, where the people came from, and how long they may have been in the area. And none of them at any point of time have ever stated that black people were in the Americas pre-Columbus. Ever. And the people that he argued with or tried to use the most in his Sir Francis Drake spiel of the video were all Africans. They came from Africa. He never read anything. He went to page 4 on Sir Francis Drake, and when he seen the one little portion, he has hung his hat on that one paragraph in that book. He never went to page 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He didn't even know that Sir Francis Drake had excerpts that was extracted from his book, speaking directly to the people that he talked to on that aisle, which he was referred to as the Maroons, people who had already fled from their masters. That is where the shit stops. Who is these people? Why are they fleeing? You can't make this type of ish up with this guy. This guy is delusional at best. He asked us to review his video. These are the results of reviewing the video. It was improperly done. It wasn't even sourced accurately. He didn't even provide the actual evidence to argue. The smartest thing he did do was present a research question. But even in presenting his research question, he never answered the damn question. Look at him in the chat. Look at him in the chat. He got y'all up in shambles. Well, not y'all really up in shambles. Look what he's requesting. Why would I play the whole video when you've been wrong every step of the way? You had bad math, no chronology, no comprehension, no understanding of the sources. You didn't even provide the actual data. And every source that you try to cherry pick in a 50-minute video, none of that shit, when you read the full context, says what you claimed it to say. So how could you draw a conclusion, or how, I mean, not draw, you could make up some shit how you want to. But how did you come to a conclusion based on shit you claimed you read? You can't make that conclusion. Just like this picture here. You said that these black people were already here. This can't be them same black people that they brought with them on their way from Europe. They didn't bring everybody straight or directly from Europe. This was in the 1580s. They're telling you that they're Africans, but you said, no, these are Negroes. These people were here before the Spanish or even Columbus arrived. And we asked you, how did you come to that conclusion? And you have yet to provide the evidence. So I don't know what your expectations are when it comes to other things like this, because I don't see you being able to do nothing other than what you've been doing this whole entire time, and that's ducking the real smoke. You told us to review your shit, so we did. Here you go. Here go the results from your bullshit, bro. These are the results from your bullshit, straight up. And you can't ask any of us to do something different or to conclude the way you concluded, when we know for a fact you concluded out of stupidity. We don't even know how you concluded, but how did you reach that conclusion? Not one single source said any of that shit that you were saying. Not one, not a one at all. If one source would have agreed with you, bro, I would have said, nah, this source say that. I would have said that. But you don't have any integrity. So I don't expect for you to, you know what I'm saying, to do whatever it is that you're going to do right by anything, because you ain't going to do none of that. I'm just looking at this like, man, this is crazy, bro. I can go on and on. I could slow walk this all the way down and really got into the crevice of even more information and just really just been about that business like that. But I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of that. You did a 50-minute video. I appreciate you making the effort to do something that these other niggas can't do in your community, who you claim to be a part of. However, you did it wrong. You never answered the question. You got poor research methodology, and you can't superimpose your beliefs on the historical sources that provide actual data. There's information out there that you had no way of ever knowing because you didn't know this shit existed. And you always gonna be a surface level sucker with a belief. And every source that you was reading, bro, that you was reading back to us was saying African like a mug, and you wouldn't even concede the point. You just try to make it seem like, see, they saying Africans was here before this and that. So now are you conceding that Africans was here? You see what I'm saying? You just dumb, bro. You're just dumb. You should just stop. But your ego won't allow you to stop. Your ego won't allow you to concede because you're gonna keep on trying to talk all this shit, and then you want us to tap into your videos for this type of shit. We ain't trying to watch this type of stupidity. The only reason that I did that is to give you a fair shot at saying, okay, he watched my video. But you did exactly what you do on panels. There was nothing different. You weren't even scholarly because you don't know how to be scholarly. You didn't even know you asked a research question. You just said people in the black community got a question. So if that's the question that people have in the black community, now you have to go collect the data to present the data to them. And then that data should be able to either correct them or substantiate their feelings. And you didn't do that. You left them more confused. To anyone who watched that, or you have people clinging on to a belief, when in fact it has been proven that it is a belief and that the evidence does not agree with you. So you just lost. You wasted 2 hours and almost 3 hours of people's time with your bullshit. For real, on some real shit. You did exactly that, bro. Wasted these people time, bro. Trying to think you right. Ain't shit about you right. At all. And you ain't gonna tell the truth. And for people in the chat are asking you to concede the point, and you won't even concede it. You want to keep on saying that you read it. There's no way that you read any of them books that you were referring to. Because had you read them, you would have saw the information that refuted you. And you would have corrected it. You wouldn't even made that motherfucking video just to save yourself the embarrassment. And you talking about what some niggas in your hood is saying on the block. Y'all hanging around this nigga, y'all stupid. The niggas I hustle with, got money with in my neighborhood, niggas was reading books, educating themselves. We was up on a Rob report at a young age. Most of y'all don't even know what the Rob report is. They kept us up to date with the new shit that was coming in. Luxury cars, luxury items, houses, all kinds of things like that. We were on that type of time. Investments. I ain't hustle with dumb niggas. That nigga, that snaggletooth nigga with that pipe in his mouth on the profile picture, that nigga it's a dumb nigga. Excuse me for using the N-word so abusively, but it is what it is. He's every bit of the sense of the word. It's crazy. That boy trash. Ain't no lick of truth in that dude. Ain't a lick of truth in that dude. You can't make this up. Can't make it up. What up, Kenan? Nah, I'm from Tennessee. I know he don't know what it mean, bro. His overconfidence got him this far, and this is all he used to. Shabaka said they never said they were blacks before Colombo. Africans may have been here, but no great numbers. Africans are African people. Natives are Americans. We are Africans. It's a fact. He don't know what that means to be real. Yeah. At least he said he give it up for you doing one. Oh, you talking about me? Your ego made you. My ego didn't make me do anything. You don't know shit about me. You don't know shit about me. Ego, nah. My ego ain't make me do nothing. My ego ain't make me do nothing. You asked us yesterday to review your video. Don't try to run from it now because you've been corrected and then you see there's information that supersedes what you was trying to present. Don't do that now. You was boasting. Yeah, go subscribe to such and such and such and such. Watch my videos. Go there and do that for your boy. Tap in. Real engine. Real information over there. Yada, yada, yada. You know how you Oklahoma niggas talk? You was saying all that. Then we go over there and we tap into the information and then these are the efforts that you give us. You wasted our time because you didn't read the sources. You didn't present the information the right way. You asked a research question and you never answered the fucking research question. You just kept speculating and using other information that doesn't supersede the information that you should have been using in the first place. And that information that you should have been using in the first place still don't even agree with you because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You just a dumbass nigga that just got out of jail, that got on YouTube, you heard some slick shit, and you felt the need to be able to do that because you a failed rapper. So you click StreamYard, go live. No, you didn't even click. Well, I don't know what you did. You put a little video clip together, and then you uploaded that shit, and you thought that you was really on to something. You wasn't on this shit, nigga. Fuck out of here. Fuck is you thinking? You a failed rapper trying to do this. Just like Dane Calloway, another failed rapper trying to deceive a lot of people for clout, trying to get your views and a following up so that you can lie to all these fools and create doubt when you ain't got the evidence. Like I told you yesterday, we already got the answers to the tests. We know exactly who we are. That's why y'all afraid of real information. That's why y'all fear people who bring that real raw information to y'all. That's why y'all don't like science. How you a drug dealer, not really a drug dealer world, but how is you an ex-drug dealer and you hate science? How did you ever run the streets hustling and you hate science? That don't even add up. It don't. Think about the hustle, the science that goes into how you was able to make a profit once before you changed your life. So it's got to be more than that. Yeah, that chemistry. But there's got to be more than that. Because you a bum. You failed. Straight up. You just failed, bro. You should just do yourself a favor and just stop making YouTube videos. At the end of the day, do yourself a favor and stop making YouTube videos. I don't care if you go sit on the panel and talk with Smoke Signal and do all of that bullshit y'all be doing. That's fine. Don't make no more videos like this, bro. If you're going to make a video like this, have a methodology. Follow that methodology and answer the research question by providing resourceful information. And never be afraid to share where you got the information from. Period, point blank. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. And then if you do something correct, you're going to see me applaud you. You're not going to see me try to deny if you did something right or wrong or indifferent. I'm going to applaud you and say, this is much better. But I ain't going to just say that just because you want me to say that. You can call me whatever name you want to call me. I'm not finna do that just because you nah, that's not me, bro. It's not my thing. You gotta give a much better effort than you did. Straight up. I see nobody has questions for me. But I bet if y'all watched this video all the way through, y'all had a shitload of questions. That's the funny part about all of this. It's a difference when you're dealing with primary sources versus just speculation. Straight up. Niggas say my ego. Man, now. He said we in the trap, getting knowledge and touching figures. Man, nah, you niggas is in the trap being stupid. If they listening to you, they ain't getting no knowledge. They getting dumber. And if they listening to other people, depending on who those other people are, then they might be getting some information. But from you, that ain't happening. You ain't helping nobody get no information. You need help. You need help like a mug, man. Because you don't know what you're doing. And no matter how many examples that we provide you to help you, to help you, you know what I'm saying, do your thing, you just ain't taking heed to that information, bro. And it's a sad day. Sad day. I ain't finna help you do nothing but drown. I got enough content on here to show you how to do things the right way, and you refuse. It's on you, bro. Sink yourself. Sink yourself. Anyway, so if we thought we was gonna learn something from this dude, you were wrong. Just keeping it a buck. Man, I hope y'all can y'all learn something from this video, and that you know what I'm saying, people get better by it. He said, play the video, the answer at the end. No, the answer at the end of your video, let me show you something, bro. Let me show you something. Since you so hard pressed, Since you so hard pressed.
And would have been carried out, but it was a miracle that the Spaniards escaped. And this what was going on in the Durham, Panama area when Balboa got down there. These are the people that he came across. This is the name of the river that he named when he came across these people. And this is where they found the black Aboriginal American man. Okay, now Diego Nequeza, he was supposed to have.
That is not what that said. Person of African descent in the Spanish language. Historically, it is a name of American English derived from a Spanish term for a person of African and Native American ancestry. Where did you get this from? Sambu River. That is what you're referring to. This is what I mean. You said you gave your answer at the end of the video. All you did was you gave your answer at the beginning of the video, bruh. This is what I'm saying by you have no methodology. You gave your answer to the question already at the beginning because you were so steadfast with Sir Francis Drake. You didn't even know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing.
They found the black Aboriginal American man. Okay, now Diego Nequeza, he was supposed to have authorization over the whole Veragua area where Panama was at. He was supposed to be the governor. And when he found out that Balboa had started a settlement and he didn't know nothing about it, he had went back down there. But Balboa denied him entry and kicked him out the area. And in the year 1514, in the month of May, the King Fernando sent Pedro Avila to be the fourth governor of Castel d'Or. And he also named Balboa as the governor of the South Sea of that coast. And with some additions in July 1513 and in 1518, the Catholic kings and constitute the first general code of the government and instructions of the American Aborigines. And with Balboa finding the Pacific Ocean for the crown and also finding the black Aborigines Americas for the crown, they still killed him in January 12th, 1519, and his other friends because they was just doing too much down there. They did it in the public, and that's how it went down for the first European man to find the black Aborigines families of America.
The first black Aborigines of America. Once again, none of the information that you argue at the end of this video prove that black people was here before Columbus. Why is you trying to insinuate anything different than that? You didn't have the evidence, bro. You don't. So why is you sitting over here trying to make it seem like you got information that you just don't have? And then you talk about ego? You didn't show no black people before Columbus, but you have conceded to the point that your conclusion states that there were black Aborigines with no evidence. You told me to come to the end of your video, and then now you got all these good people in here wondering why we at the end of your video, and you ain't handled no kind of business in their video to be talking about what you saying. None, bro. You ain't said, you ain't got no business saying what you saying. No business saying what you saying. You just saying it, and it's just stupid. And you just confident. You came to a conclusion with misinformation. Boy, you terrible, bro. Ain't that cold? Ain't that cold, y'all? It's cold, ain't it? He made me play the rest of this video for that dumbass shit. And I told y'all he didn't come to an honest conclusion based on the data. So how can you conclude that there were black people that you call them black Aborigines in the Americas before Columbus, and you never provided the evidence for that? I ain't even finna, I ain't got time to block Lotus stupid ass. Lotus, go DoorDash. What you mean, better not drop the link? Like you intimidate somebody. We all know what the hell you stand on and what you gonna say. You do not want to get mistreated today. You better leave it at this critique of your video. Because it was stupid. You ain't got no evidence. You can't pull up one source. You can't pull up one source. Not one single source that says that there were black people in the Americas before Columbus arrived. You would have shown it in that video. You would have been proud and happy. You would have been on Not a Coincidence arguing. You would have been everywhere. Like, look what I found, y'all. Told y'all black people was here. You would have been the first person to do it. All these people that been looking for this shit, you would have been the first person. You a dumbass motherfucker from Oklahoma. Just got out of jail. Smoking a straight shooter in his profile picture. You'd have been the first nigga to do it. And you failed your people. They was counting on you. You served them no justice. Craziness. Craziness. 1513 was a great year in Panama. That don't mean nothing. Just because it was a great year in Panama, that mean that don't predate Columbus. That don't prove that black people was in Panama before Columbus. And them black people being Africans. Well, I'm gonna tell you what you is. I'm gonna tell you what you playing with. What you're playing with is that people of African descent being over here in the Americas via the Spanish earlier than recognized. That's what you playing with. You ain't playing with proving that black people been here before anything. The people of African descent. You ain't proving that. You Negroes was already here. What you proving is us right. You proving us right. We know who we are. You proving us right. And through your stupidity, you making us look even smarter. So go figure. Call that boy American Lotion. Call that boy American Lotion, bruh. American Lotion. Vino, I got 2 houses. I got 2 houses. You can actually look me up and find my properties. And I ain't got no $50,000 or $120,000 shit. My shit way more than that. Both. You don't know who you talking to. This ain't a pissing contest. I'm not even trying to go there with you. You in the chat saying the most dumbest things ever. I'm not trying to go there with you, bro. It's not a. You don't. First of all, we don't believe you. You need more people, and you definitely not equal. You don't know who you're talking to, bro. But shout out to your partner though. Shout out to him. At the end of the day, you smell me. That boy horrible. No research skills. And the Spanish, the Spanish didn't say nothing, but they brought with them Africans. He don't know what an outline is, so I don't know why you trying to tell him you trying to give him that information. If he watched the presentation, he would already know that he need an outline. He needs to follow that outline to a T, but he has to have a better methodology. So he needs to look at research designs that would also help him be a little bit better at presenting information and staying on par. He had no. That's why I kept saying what I said about the chronology. How you start off with Columbus, who we know his earliest accounts are in 1492, and then you don't even give us Columbus accounts because Columbus accounts refute you because he don't call them Negroes or none of that shit. You don't even give us Columbus accounts. The only time you spoke of anything that had to deal with Columbus was from 1498, and you don't even know what voyage that was. And that's the bad part, is that you was that disingenuous. Sad. He ain't listening to you. Yeah, she gonna come through. She likes pseudo shit. That's her type of speed. She communicate well with pseudos. Cause she was one pseudo herself. Still is on a lot of shit. What you talking about? Okay. I made the same mistake before. I'm just telling him. Because he at least tries. His beliefs cloud him. Yeah, that's true. It do. Nigga, I ain't mad. I don't know why he think I'm mad. He said I would. Pure Black said I wouldn't even disrespect corn that way. You got to do a better job than what you did, bro. That was pathetic and poor. You just did something better than the rest of them sorry dudes that you be on the panel with. They wouldn't even do that. And the reason that they wouldn't even do that is because they don't want to be held accountable for what they say in the videos regarding anything that got to do with some information that they got to share. Because they know they're going to get the cleanup crew going to come right behind them and refute that information and make them look stupid because we already got the answers to the test. So there's nothing that you can say that will be able to be proven by your belief. Period. So look, man, I appreciate all y'all tapping in, man. I've been on here too long. I should have been off. But catch the replay if you just joined in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And then look who show up in the chat 3 hours later, bro. 3 hours later. 3 hours later, look who show up in the chat. Yeah, you got put in the coffin. You definitely got put in the coffin today. You definitely got put in the coffin. You definitely got put into a coffin. Yeah, not a see. You already know what happened, bro. All you got to do is look in the description of the video. Now to see, all you got to do is look in the description of this video and you know what happened. Soon as you look in the description of this video, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, he chopped him up. You see the comment? Yeah, so now he trying to hold on to his ego. You know what I'm saying? He trying to hold on to a little bit of whatever it is that he trying to hold on to. I really don't care what he try to hold on to. It ain't gonna help him. I ain't gonna help him at all. Straight up. That boy, they're terrible. That boy's terrible. Yeah, you don't want no smoke, bro. Not with me. You don't want that. You don't want those problems. You do not want them problems. Stay in a child's place. It's where you look better. The bar is a strictly good engine. I don't even know why he think he got any support. I answered the question. You said it was black people here in the Americas before Columbus arrived. I answered the question. There was no black people in the Americas before Columbus arrived. I don't understand how you don't think that that question was not answered. I've already answered that in previous videos. I've already presented information refuting even black people who was under the impression and the assumption. This is what I mean by you don't do no real research, because there's a tons of videos on the same channel regarding that same topic that puts you at compromise immediately, which means that I'm already 5, 6, 7, 8 years ahead of you. You're new. You just now starting to hear stuff and think that's slick. Come on, bro. No, he ain't. He ain't smart enough to research himself out of stuff, because not a coincidence corrected him on a lot of stuff, and then he turned right back around and still said the same thing once I went live and he brought this stuff up over here, and then not a coincidence showed up and then was, you know, correcting him again. This ain't the type of dude that's going to take correction well. His ego is at play. And he trying to look good for them dudes back there that he try to, you know what I'm saying, make them think that he on some information type shit, and he just another bum ass nigga in the hood that ain't got nothing going for himself. Sorry. Just call it how I see it. Yep. Pure Black still in his junk. But yeah, man, he said in Panama, in America, there was no black people in Panama or in the I said the Americas before the arrival of the Spanish. Black people don't get to the Americas until the arrival of the Spanish. I don't care if you want to go Christopher Columbus or any other person. They ain't here before them freaking ships get to the Americas. You see how stupid he is? He put found in 1513. When did Columbus get here? Is 1513 greater than, is 1492 greater than or less than 1513 as it pertains to what comes first mathematically? What comes first, 1513 or 1492? Now you don't even understand what found means. They didn't find black people here. The text don't say they found black people here. Your source says that, never mind. Let me let you just say that. There were no black people in the Americas before the arrival of the Spanish. Columbus did not need a settlement. Columbus had ventured the whole entire islands, which he said takes him 4 months. Let me show you something real quick, because you're slow. gonna show y'all something real quick. Man, you can't make me do nothing, and you ain't gonna do nothing. But what you doing right now? Now you crying in the chat. All right. So, do they get to Cuba first, or do they get to Panama first? Because the people that were found in Panama were Maroons that were running from the Spanish. These people were of African descent that were running from the Spanish when Francis Drake spots them, and that's in 1572. So from for over 80 years, there were voyages. Columbus had made how many trips to this area did Columbus make? How many voyages? See, this is what happened when you're dealing with people that don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about. They just keep insinuating. Did Columbus have a settlement in Panama? He didn't need one. He reached these islands before everybody else did. Everybody else was coming behind him. And this is the reason why you see Africans in Mexico, around this area of Mexico. And through here, you see black people of African descent all through Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, all of these regions right here. Brazil, all around here. Watch this. You better be glad this map won't even show me what I'm looking for. Let me go find the map I'm looking for. And I'm gonna put it on here for you. Dumbass boy. Let's see if it's gonna show me Little Havana. Nope, this map don't show it to me. I know where they are, but I ain't even gonna educate you on that. I don't know what happened to my screen right then. It just stopped sharing. He said blacks come from the South. Fool, you don't even know. You just took that. You took that any kind of direction that you wanted to. First of all, when he said something about the blacks being in the South, where is Hispaniola? Where is Hispaniola? Where's Hispaniola? See, this is what I mean. I wasn't even really trying to deal with you, but it's somebody in my chat, and I just say that thinks that he's going to research himself up out of something. To that somebody in the chat, he is clearly showing you that he is too incompetent to research himself up out of a situation when he says the stupid shit that he's saying. If I sit here and not say anything and just let him keep talking, you're going to finally realize that who's been right the entire time and who's not right at all. I don't understand why do you think the way that you think. But I'm finna show you one more time. For the stupid person in the chat that seriously thinks what they just said. Here is a map This is Hispaniola. When they say the South, look at the damn South. Port-au-Prince is in the South. Haiti is right here. At the time that these people are making assertions about shit, they saying that the people that they discussing are coming from the South from here. Not coming from the South down this motherfucker. That ain't what they insinuating. They saying the South of Hispaniola. And the people that they are talking about that's coming from the South of Hispaniola are the people that been brought there. Period, point blank. They're brought to Hispaniola. Damn, boy, you don't even know how to comprehend shit. All you gotta do is build a chronology, look at the chronology, and then go get the maps. Look at a damn map. You're so stupid that you don't even know what the hell you're doing. And this is how funny it is. He said that somebody is flustered. I don't know why she believes in stupid people. Every person that she believed in still do stupid shit. Henry. I ain't gonna name him. Let me stop. Nah, he ain't here to learn, bro. But anyway, man, I appreciate all y'all tapping in, man. I ain't finna waste no more time.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find your own
genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all
I
did.
don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all won't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube.
One more time, he doesn't read. He keeps bringing this up after he's been corrected. The javelin, the spear tips, Gwenin comes from, look, bro. They talking Hispaniola. You talking Cuba now. Them javelin spear tips. You just said it again. They brought with javelin. No, you don't know what you're talking about. So again, this is what I mean by people that don't know how to do any research. On this same channel, I provided the evidence of a primary source of what not they, but Columbus and them even wrote about the Gwenin. I'm gonna pull it up for you because you keep saying stupid stuff in the chat, and it's like I'm just going in circles with this information that's already been presented, and because you want to avoid that information, you making it people can't progress in this conversation. Like, you have to prove that it was black people in the Americas before Columbus. I don't have to do anything. You don't have the evidence. You don't have the evidence. So I don't know why you think something that it is a fact when you don't know shit about shit. Period. You don't. So I'm gonna do this one more time. Because at this point, he's just gonna keep talking. He has no command of maps or none of that. You see this title? Metallic Encounters in Cuba, the technology, exchange, and meaning of metals before and after Columbus. So this lets you know that I'm not playing games with you. At all. You see this map right here? Notice I went straight to it. Guanin. What does this say? Map of Cuba showing the locations of indigenous sites that have reported metal finds, including those cited in the text. I don't need to, entertain you anymore at this particular point, because this is what them spears that you keep referring to was guanin tips, and because you don't know what it is, it's on you. And you ain't trying to know. You just gonna keep on. Notice how you will say something and then put laughing emojis behind it, because in reality, you really bothered by the fact that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And somebody that knows what they're talking about and has been talking about this for quite some time is edifying and correcting your ass, and you can't handle it. You can't concede that point and then turn around and say, all right, cool, good point. I learned something right there. Instead, you want to keep arguing and going against the grain. This is pre and post Columbus. There ain't no gold tips. They ain't found no gold tips. They found guanin. In Hispaniola. And this whole thing just refutes and debunks the whole notion of gold tips. What a gold at? What a gold at? What you think that is? Run around here thinking that you know something. You don't even study metals. You don't know nothing about no metals, bro. You know zero about metals, bro. You're not running around here studying metals. So don't come in the chat trying to act like you study metals and you understand things, because you made a dumbass error and claim things. And this is what guanin looks like. It is a composed of copper, gold, and silver is what that is. Spanish royal assayers in 1498 found that samples of guanin sent to them by Christopher Columbus were 18 parts gold, 6 parts silver, and 8 parts copper. What are we talking about? You don't know what you're talking about because you don't study the argument. And you're regurgitating claims that were made by other people that have been refuted and debunked. So while you running around here running your little mouth about something, you're crazy. The journal of Bartholomew de las Casas made during the third voyage of Christopher Columbus. The what? The third voyage of Christopher Columbus in 1498 relates that Columbus had heard reports from local people that there had come to Hispaniola from the south and southeast of black people who have the tops of their spears made of a metal which they call guanin. It wasn't gold. Those black people who have the tops of their spears made of metal, which they called guanin. You can find the source from the Northmen, Columbus and Cabot, 985 to 1503. And those black people that they were later referred to in 1498, we know who they were. Yo, what's so funny is Do I want to show y'all this? Let me show y'all anyway. What's so funny is the information is right here. Right here. So when you running around here thinking that I'm just talking, nah, I ain't just talking. I got the source right here. Articles of agreement between the lords, the Catholic sovereigns, and Cristobal Colon Columbus, appointed admiral and viceroy of such mainland and islands as he should discover. So it gets real specific right here in this source. And I would share it with you. But unfortunately, I know you ain't trying to correct yourself. So it's a waste of time. And you're going to just try to cherry pick and make a whole new argument and then try to come with a see right here. It say on the source you said right here. Yada, 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 yada. You don't even know. You don't even know. Everything that you talk about what happened with Columbus is right here. Right here. Come on, man. I got it on the screen. You could pause it and you can read it. But you do not cherry pick. And this is Thursday, the 13th of December, when they make mentions of this. What about these other days? Let's go all the way back to when he first arrived. I left the city of Granada on the 12th of May in the same year, 1492. Where I equipped 3 vessels well suited for such service. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the journal of the first voyage of Columbus. This is the specifics, the details, as is being journeyed day after day after day after day after day after day till he arrived. Thirty-some days. We ain't even got to play with this kid no more in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have to play with this cat in the chat. You know what I'm saying? He is expired himself of everything that was left in him. When you start showing them stuff like this that breaks down the specifics as it pertains to each day, each voyage, each trip, what he see, what he saw, what was the documentation on a day-to-day basis, we all know better. At the end of the day, he tells us he didn't see no black people. I feel bad for you, bro. Poor research methodology, and you don't even understand the facts of life. You don't understand the facts of life. Don't quit your day job. YouTube and then lying ain't your thing. YouTube and the line ain't your thing, bro. You ain't gonna get paid. Nah. We slowing all y'all money up lying on us.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family,
He
but y'all
died
ain't
by
find
his
y'all?
own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all
I
did.
don't feel like you standing on business.
And y'all lied on me, because y'all won't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of meat. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.